Chris!
Heath.
Happy anniversary.
What did you get me?
I got you more deodorant.
Oh.
Because we're going to be sweating all episode.
That gift comes with some certain connotations to it.
It sure does.
That I'm a stinky boy.
Well, I ran out recently. Is why I mention it.
I have more deodorant than I've ever owned in my entire life.
Oh,
right
you
now.
should hook me up, son.
I could. I'd give you an excellent rate. Heath,
Hey.
This is Mobius Tubes, episode 100.
Wow.
Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you, too. What day is it?
Today is February 11th, 2024.
Hooray. Got that out of the way. Let's get down to brass tacks.
I thought I'd start us off on this is going to be a reflective episode.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off with something out of our usual order of operations. We had a listener email come in this episode, fitting for episode 100.
Hit it.
This comes from Thomas Knight, who, I was curious, Thomas wrote in once before to the podcast, all the way back in February of 2020.
Oh, longtime fan.
Presumably, Thomas has been listening this whole time, so shout out to Thomas for being a longtime listener. Thomas says, "Hey lads, you should know your influencers. You influenced me to play Inscription and The Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh, that's good.
And they're both great games. Thanks for that. In an attempt to make this parasocial relationship mutual, perhaps you'd be curious enough to try A Hand with Many Fingers, a game about a real-life mystery and exciting digging through archive material gameplay. It's that type of freeform detective puzzle that I know you both crave more of."
Well, cool your jets, Bailey. It might be...
Hi, Thomas. Thank you for your suggestion. I'm going to play this game.
We may play this game.
Mean.
Well, what if the... Oh, wow, it is
It's on
red
Sub
twine
City.
corkboard.
Yo, this is Criminal Minds.
It sure is.
Thanks, Thomas.
This is just Shadows of Doubt.
Yeah, this definitely deserves deeper investigation. Thank you very much, Thomas. This doesn't seem to have been on either of our radars.
Good thing we got Thomas in our lives.
Yeah, he's doing us a solid.
What a good influencer, that Thomas.
Right. So consider the parasocial relationship mutualized, Thomas.
Sorry, I'm browsing many fingers.
There's more than just a few.
Do you think that's a Princess Bride reference?
That's
who killed Inigo Montoya's dad.
Oh, really?
The man with 6 fingers.
Okay. It's a little bit of a stretch, but it could be.
We shall find out.
We shall find out. Heath, you asked me what I've been playing.
Yes.
We can go over that. It's just Marvel's Midnight Suns.
What about Infinite Wealth?
I don't own Infinite Wealth.
Why not?
Because it's heavily dependent on Yakuza Like a Dragon, another entry I haven't played.
Oh, okay.
It's the direct continuation.
You're going to do the full Ichiban experience?
I need to go full Ichiban.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me about Midnight.
I'm going to spare you and the listeners. Suffice to say,
we're getting off easy, folks.
I'm 80 hours into Midnight Suns. I'm in Act 3. I will come back with an actual update when I have finished the game. Until then, I am introducing a Midnight Suns moratorium on the show. No more.
Okay, next segment. The news?
I take it you have not been playing anything, Heath. What other classics from Chris's childhood have you found bastardized in browser versions of?
I did not fire up any more nostalgia bait for Chris.
Okay, then let us segue to the news.
Disney bought Epic Games.
Whoa, this is breaking news for me.
$1.5 billion deal.
Interesting.
Go to the Forbes article.
Okay, I'm queuing it up.
Gives Bailey and I all the more reason to be excited. I only wish we owned Dreamlight Valley on Epic. Or you know what? It's probably coming to for free on Epic Games. Surely there are going to be Disney Fortnite skins. That's a guarantee. You're going to have to play Fortnite.
No.
Because you'd be able to hit the gritty as Elsa, which is your long lost dream.
No.
You're speechless on how right I am.
How are they going to I don't know if they're, well, maybe they will have skins, but that's a little out there because don't you have like guns and stuff?
Yeah, it would be immersion shattering.
That's what I was trying to say.
So let's name the Disney characters that could more easily make the Fortnite transition. Big Hero 6?
Big Hero 6.
Just a big old Baymax.
Shang
Yeah.
from Mulan. Maybe even Mulan.
Yeah, all the warrior types, right? Chris is stunned by this news.
Yeah, I am surprised. I don't know the long-term implications, but hey, if this is a chance for Disney to maybe wrestle the Epic Games reins away from Tim Sweeney, who has a strangely fierce vendetta against Steam, I'm all for it. If this nudges the needle ever closer to Alan Wake 2 coming to Steam, 100% endorsement from Chris.
Well, good. That was the news.
That was the news. I will just put a teaser for future news. There's no reason to do a deep dive on this on episode 100. We'll save it for next episode when we have concrete details. But we're standing on the precipice of paradigm-shifting Xbox news. Have you heard all those rumors?
Oh, Game Pass is no longer flag-shipped by the big old Xbox logo.
You're right.
They whitewashed it. Or rather, that whole website is on dark mode, so they blackwashed it.
There was some ominous rebranding where the Xbox logo is being vanished.
Right.
And rumblings of Xbox first-party studio games being ported to competing platforms like the Switch and PlayStation. Incoming news from Phil Spencer next week, so we'll just save it for then. But on the next recording, we might be in a world where you can play Halo on your PlayStation. And that's the news?
Yes.
Okay. We've hit the episode 100 part of this episode.
Hooray.
We speed run the rest of it. So Heath, we're 100 episodes in. It's more than 5 years later. I just wanted to do some reflective look backs with you. I have a couple leading questions. Number one, do you happen to remember your reaction when, in 2018, I asked you, hey, would you be interested in recording a video game podcast with me? Your friend, Chris.
I was all about it.
No hesitation?
I think I said, let's do it in my basement.
And boy, did we.
Yeah, we recorded the first one. No strings attached.
Yeah. We didn't have a format.
What are you talking about? We predicted the Game Awards.
We predicted the Game Awards. We didn't have a
That was the most formulaic episode.
All right, let me rephrase. We didn't have a...
We had no roots.
That format lasts one episode.
Yeah.
We had no plan beyond that.
We were catching lightning in a bottle.
Right.
Annualized lightning.
Were you surprised by the invitation coming from me?
No.
No?
No, because we had already... Our favorite video game chatter prior to that recording was thorough enough. Yeah, it only made sense.
The year before, we did have a fun one-off of guessing like the 2017 Game Awards winners. You made a high-effort infographic you shared with me. I don't know if you still have that image floating around. But
For the Game Awards?
yeah, you did. At the very top, there's like you had a knowing glance of just like your eyes.
Oh, yes.
You remember it? Does that ring a bell?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I pitched you on it. I had a couple motivations for wanting to start the show. The main thing was my total lack of an outlet for discussing all these games I really enjoy, all these profoundly moving experiences I had just played the year prior.
Oh, Dodoy. 2017 was right before 2018.
Yeah, it was.
Who would have thought?
I was coming out hot off the heels of 50 hours in Yakuza my first time. I had just played the Danganronpa trilogy, and I had all these thoughts and nowhere to put them. So I was like, maybe a podcast could be my route. Another secondary motivation, instead of just the thrill of getting these opinions off my chest, was I wanted to create some kind of a product to convey to the people in my life just how I feel about games and something I could point them towards when I know the barrier to entry of actually playing themselves may be a bar too high, but maybe a discussion about them anyone could engage with. So that was another motivation.
And even the barrier for entry of playing them is too high. Chris, for some people, the barrier of entry of listening is too high. If I loved you, I would micro package your anecdotes from this show into bite-sized vertical content for TikTok, and just it would catch fire, and you would be Mark Brown's dad.
That's probably a bridge too far. But
No,
I appreciate the sentiment.
I can totally see it.
Very cool. Right as we were starting up Mobius Tubes, I was in the midst of ending a relationship. And at the time, it was clear to me that the way I felt about games was not reciprocated.
Was not how I felt about girls.
It was not reciprocated or clearly conveyed to this individual.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe if I made a podcast, people might understand me. That was a more pressing motivation at the time. And as far as how I chose my co-host, I knew you were in many ways an ideal candidate, Heath. You had the audio engineering background. You were, in my opinion, an adept and engaging conversationalist. The only qualification I was less than 100% certain about were your gaming credentials, but that was the least important part. I knew, at the very least, this Heath guy, he likes Civilization, he likes Inside, I can make it work. He seems excited for Red Dead Redemption 2. And lo and behold, you have, for the most part, well, maybe we'll find out later, I think you have great gaming taste.
I'm going to play a platinum game.
You don't have to.
Eventually.
All right.
I played 13 Sentinels.
Yes. That was maybe the part of your character arc that most surprised me over this endeavor.
Yeah. Just to talk up my credentials once more. Yes, I had the engineering background. I never lost a recording, except for that one time. And I thought you were about to say, the only thing I wish I could change about you is all of these non sequiturs that cause me physical pain.
I realize there's a segment of the audience who probably loves them, so they should
and
stay.
I am their captain. I also love the non sequiturs. Chris, what I lack in playing prowess, I gain in just familiarity with the industry.
Yes.
This list is not going to change.
Okay. We'll come back to the list criteria pretty soon. A couple last questions for you.
Shoot.
What has Mobius Tubes meant to you?
It's it's like flossing, you know? It's something that you just gotta do, no matter how grimy it can get, and you're gonna be looking back on it and be so glad you did. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose things you can't get back. I'm talking about my molars and my just gigabytes of games.
You say that analogy. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, there's definitely an appreciation aspect of looking back at the library and feeling a sense of accomplishment about making it, even when editing it isn't always the most thrilling thing. There was a time...
Other people don't edit their podcasts. You know this.
I feel like...
On the spectrum of just raw uploads and probably like no-clip documentaries, I'm glad that we fall closer to no-clip.
Yeah. There's a certain part of me that is bothered by, like, I'm sure we could Pareto principle it with, like, do 20% of the editing and get 80% of the results. But I'm too much of a perfectionist. I get nitty-gritty with it.
Yeah.
You do as well. There is probably a mismatch between the amount of time we spend editing versus the size of the audience. But hey, when it blows up, the bar of quality will already be there.
Right.
You're preaching to the choir.
I knew you'd get it.
What was your question? What does it mean?
What
to
does
me?
what does it mean to you? It's flossing.
No, it's flossing. It's going outside of your comfort zone. I wouldn't play half of these games had I not this homework. But just like doing homework, it's just preparing me for the real world.
Yeah. Here, I'll tell you what Mobius Tubes means to me. It's a little bit of a closer race these days, but I think I still give the award to Mobius Tubes. It's the most meaningful project I've worked on, to me personally.
It's the longest thing either of us have ever done.
That's true. I mean, it's been going on longer than my college career.
Yeah.
It's almost been going longer than my career too.
Some people's college careers are still going.
No, it's the longest thing you've ever done. Meanwhile, we're gonna have our 10th anniversary.
Oh, I have a pretty big project on the couch right there, right now. Well, that's what.
Listen.
That was what he just was saying.
This is the longest thing you've ever done. My goodness.
Love you, dear.
But it's also a huge component in having a closer friendship with you, Heath.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
It's very meaningful to me. I think we've grown closer over these years.
And even if we have a big fight and over maybe the entries on this list, I feel like we've like sunk enough in that we would still like pursue this project a parallel.
Yeah, people will have to choose their team.
Yeah.
We'll alternate the uploads. Heath episode, Chris episode. No, I think some of our best bits have been when we disagree. It's engaging content.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to hitting the listeners with some of our personal favorite Mobius Tubes segments / moments?
Sure.
I have collected 5 and 1 honorable mention.
Okay.
Should I get the honorable mention out of the way?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just, I think we did a pretty good work on our unpopular gaming opinions segments, which have featured on...
That last week?
Last week?
Oh my God.
I thought we did a good job last week.
Oh my God.
Episode 99, 44, and 45 all have unpopular gaming opinions. I think they're all pretty fun to listen to. I won't go much further than that since it's just my honorable mention.
Yeah.
So, hit me. This could be like if you're a relatively new listener and you want recommendations from the backlog, maybe check out these episodes. The things Heath and I are about to shout out right now.
I mean, I listened back to during making my list, and episode 57 when we're talking about, gosh, I'm gonna sound so narcissistic.
Hey, that's what this whole segment is.
We're
talking about our work we did we think was really good.
But when I'm talking about Superliminal and how difficult it was to not shout the solution while Bailea was struggling to get past the double door puzzle. I love listening back to that one because I did you were like, oh, this cadence is super weird. It was like I was in a fugue state. It's how I imagine like musicians on drugs must feel
during the recollection of that superliminal puzzle.
Yeah. When I hit a pretty melodic tone, you'll know I'm having real fun with this. That was in episode 57, I think.
Interesting. It'll be cool to hear what stood out to you and what stood out to me. My 5th favorite moment of the show was back in episode 80. It's our Immortality spoiler section and ensuing debate. Because no other game do I think Heath and I have been more starkly opposed on than our differing takes on the game Immortality. Unfortunately, to get the most out of this segment, you probably need to be familiar with the game. Boy, do Heath and I spoil a lot of different games in that segment. But the back and forth, the impassioned arguments, man, just like I said earlier, some of the best segments we've ever done on the show are when you and I most disagree. And boy, did we disagree on Immortality. The joke is still alive to this day. And that was my 5th favorite segment on the show. the Immortality debate on episode 80.
I was trying to find out which episode it was. Do you remember when we did the Disco Elysium spoiler talk?
Oh.
So many good.
It was probably right after I finished it. So it's probably summer 2020, somewhere around there.
Yes.
Probably worth getting the number just to shout it out.
Yeah, allow me. 44?
Probably 44. I see spoiler section Disco Elysium.
Yeah, 44. Just really, I'm bad at patting myself on the back eloquently. So many good sound bits about things in the game that you found that I missed, and just your impression, like just recounting the highlights, like the homosexual underground and things like that. Just treasures. There's like 7 minutes worth of treasure in that, whatever it was, like 40-minute spoiler cast. So good. It's a highlight.
I remember it fondly. Don't remember too many specifics of that conversation, but I mean, it was 4 years ago.
I will. No, I'll save it for later.
Okay. My fourth favorite Mobius Tube's memory. It's a specific one. I'll say it in a second. I'll lead into it saying, man, Mobius Tunes was a good idea. We've milked Mobius Tunes for all it's worth.
Mobius Tunes, it was really just an outlet for all my esoteric tracks. And it was an outlet for your bangers that you liked from whatever, Bailea, Hades, all that.
It's our often reoccurring music guessing game, Mobius Tunes.
The best parts is when I couldn't place the Halo Reach intro theme.
I remember that one specifically.
And I thought it was like jungle and then the desert. I'm explaining the bit, but I can't do this segment. But yeah, you should listen back.
I have a specific favorite one in mind.
Which one?
It occurs on episode 60, Heath's Eternal Punishment. This is
the Persona one?
The namesake of the episode. This is the episode where all 5 of my songs were from the Persona franchise, and I won't spoil the ending, but when Heath gets to song 5, the circuitous route he takes from nearly cinching victory and then crashing into the bowels of defeat, it was amazing. It was the perfect pop-off.
Then that one will just always be evergreen. My number 3?
Yes.
I just want to stop the show and say that you know how when you go to YouTube channels that you've never been to before, it auto plays a certain video that's like not the epitaph. What am I trying to say? The
introductory.
Just like the thesis of the channel. It's like this is what the algorithm thinks best represents this content.
Okay.
I think episode 99, last episode, is a good candidate for what we're all about.
Okay.
Much to maybe Janice's chagrin.
I don't disagree with anything you've said.
Because your anecdote about how your father's disconnect with what makes gaming a worthwhile pastime, I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing, it was just so good. And then how I undercut it right at the end there. Bailey was listening to me howling at myself.
I played Dead by Daylight for the score.
Oh, yeah. It was... we have a real, I want to say, gosh, I can't be modest. We have a real, like, Abbott on Costello classic, just, like, poking each other in the ribs way of like, of teasing each other. And it shines so well in just the last episode. You said, like, oh, let's go through the favorites. There was this one a week ago, and then this one a month ago. You should listen to episode 99 if you're a first-time listener. We knocked it out of the park.
It's good that...
But Janice would say, and then the ball landed in the sewers.
Right. Unsalvageable.
Yeah.
Poor Janice. Very cool. My third favorite memory. We talked about some recent highlights. Let's go back in our archives here. This is back on episode 22.
Yeah, dig.
We had a discussion on games and the relationship to meaningful work. This was inspired by an article called... It was an article I really liked. 2017 article.
This is an EDAR, is it?
That might have been the EDAR episode, but that's not actually the segment I'm referring to.
Uh-huh.
A article on Reason.com. Young Men Are Playing Video Games Instead of Getting Jobs. That's Okay for Now by Peter Suderman. Anyway, I was just rereading some of the article right before this show, and it cast me back to 2019 during that when we recorded that episode. And I remembered how this article so deeply resonated with an at the time 23-year-old Chris who felt deeply unfulfilled working his first software engineering job.
That explains it.
Thankfully, I'm in a better place now, and
At OnlyFans. You're running the back door.
did a career pivot.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was a fascinating article. Our ensuing conversation was cathartic for me. There's one quote from the article that lives rent-free in my head. I think it's most people would probably like scoff at it, but it calls video games the universal basic income for the soul, where they could be in the place of someone who's unemployed or down in their luck, a substitute for purpose, and how as a medium they're kind of uniquely suited to slotting in there where they could bolster an area of your life that's lacking by providing you with a sense of accomplishment, a sense of gaining proficiency, a sense of accountability, a way to demonstrate your proficiency to those around you in multiplayer games. And I
don't know what that has to do with UBI.
If
anything, video games are like the participation trophy that you could really need at one point in your life.
The article explains, this makes more sense in the context of the article, but how universal basic income would provide a baseline satisfaction
for people that don't
level.
have jobs?
Universal basic income, the financial part of that would provide a baseline for your material needs, where video games provide a baseline for your self-actualization needs.
For your ethos fulfillment.
Right. So tune back into that one if you want to hear an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, that's why, Chris, that's why you're such a good yin to my yang. Yeah, you bring that sort of interpersonal network, like how video games play into each of our individual lives and as like a community. And then I'm just scrolling through these titles. Remember when you came up with like Tombstone Juice?
Yeah.
Remember when you came up with just...
To be fair, you deserve credit for most of the titles.
Remember when Ice got iced? Like these are gems. I'm just so happy that we're able to have, like, I love the clever wordplay. Which episode was it when I asked you which was a better game, Judgment or Judgment? And find that, audio listener. Yeah. Just pipette that and just put it in my veins. It's so fun.
I'm not in disagreement.
Where are we at? Number one?
You're number 2, I think.
Yeah, okay. Oh, do I go again?
Yeah.
I just did it.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I just did it.
Then my number 2. Your number 2 was like the wordplay and stuff.
Yeah. And that's why when the friggin' episode titles that are like playful debate, grind my gears, even though that's the one that like Bailey's mom named by title.
Oh, it sticks out to someone.
It was perfect SEO because she was trying to like teach her students how to properly converse with each other on like controversial topics. And she saw, playful debate. Hit start. So,
you could definitely train a machine learning algorithm pretty reliably to predict. Did Heath title this episode or did Chris title this episode?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We certainly have enough audio to feed into that machine. Bailey wants us to, much in the way you could get an AI to write a script for a cooking show. She wants us to see what that would generate for a Mobius Tubes episode.
It would be interesting.
It's in the works.
That we'll probably experience that in our lifetime.
I'll probably make that before I make the Assassin's Creed Odyssey playable quest line for Chris.
Love the callbacks. Love them. My number 2.
Can you believe that you played that game as long as you played Midnight Suns?
I still have a ways to go to catch up to Odyssey with my Midnight Sun playtime.
You must have been an dark place to invest that much time in AC Odyssey.
It was my early COVID game.
Talk about just the tofu. Oh, yeah, early COVID. Yeah, probably.
That's why it's as verbose as it is.
Brain cells were on fire. What's your number one?
I have my number 2 to do.
Oh, God.
Chime in if this happens to be your number 1, Heath. It might be. My number 2 favorite Mobius Tube segment was on episode 41 and spilling over to 42. It's the experience machine debate. When Heath and I just went at it with our differing opinions on the classic experience machine thought experiment and how that could be compared to / relate to playing video games.
If any AP English students listen to that episode,
yeah,
I feel like we use pretty big words and talk on. God, I'm not gonna be humble. We're really smart, and it shows in that episode. And and I still think I still think I made some points that you did not address.
Hey, that's the best part. I feel like we both walked away meaningfully believing we won.
That's true.
No, like I said, our best content is when Heath and I disagree.
Your total apathy for altruism is like so confusing.
Man, if only we could listen to it all over again.
We should just do a director's commentary of our
episode.
Shit.
When we're on episode 141 and 142, we'll listen back and react to it.
Sure, I'm down.
Heath, what is your number 1?
Oh, I mentioned all my.
Oh, did you burn out?
I mean. My number 1 is how patient Chris is with me when I don't deliver the episode in its finished format for weeks at a time because, I don't know, I'm busy smelling my own farts in Orlando or just being a big old just jerking off. Whatever it may be. And Chris, just the gentlest text of like, episode something, and I'll be like, yeah. And he's just so courteous. That's been my favorite thing in this whole journey, that I've never had to wake up and be like, oh God, Chris is gonna slash my tires because it's 10 days overdue.
Once in a while, I think I'm slightly less than courteous, but no, you reminded me. I forget. It's been a long time since we were in this era of Mobius Tubes. We recorded a large percentage of this podcast remotely.
Yeah.
And now that feels like a distant memory, like a different lifetime.
Mm-hmm. It was pre-COVID too.
Yeah, because you lived on different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And then we reunited, and then COVID hit. So yeah, large swaths of Mobius Tubes history were remotely, and I kind of just forget about that.
And thank goodness we entered the same zip code, because the remote episodes, I think I deliberately tweaked them to just shrink the delay between us.
Sure.
Because we play off much better when we're on top of each other.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's probably the case for almost any podcast out there. But you think it's especially pronounced with us?
I think if you have 2 people, it's hyper noticeable. If you have 3 people, you could probably get away with
right.
As
you wait for people to jump in at their time.
Right.
My number 1 favorite Mobius Tubes memory. It's in episode 29. It's the song that nobody knows.
Shush.
Did we leave it at that?
We don't talk about that.
I won't explain it.
Oh, this is a long segment.
I'll just say this was like 4 years ago.
There's no better time to reflect on the year than now.
The way the strategic sound bites you inserted into the song in the background, they were so funny. Anyway, he sent me episode 29, just the normal standard workflow. It appears in my email. Not a single peep was uttered about the fact that Heath composed an entire song for the episode.
I sang that in Justin's apartment.
Which room?
He was at work in the kitchen, in his dining
where the acoustics were prime.
Yeah, at Graymore Way. I don't know if that's doxing because he no longer lives there.
Right. Anyway, I just downloaded the episode on my phone, was going to do my single listen pass through like normal. I was at work at my standing desk, pretending to type away like normal. And then just out of nowhere, we hit the middle of this somewhat egregiously long segment, and suddenly Heath's singing in my eardrum. And it's really good.
I wanted the song to both sound like a fever dream, because just it was driving me nuts how long that episode was getting editing wise, and it just fueled the creative process.
It's an excellent Easter egg for anyone with the stamina to survive that segment.
Well, yeah, and I the lyrics say as much.
Right. I'm kind of doing a disservice to the song by highlighting it
I
right
say
here.
this song is not for you.
Right. But no, I lost all of my composure at work when that just hit me out of the blue.
Oh, good.
You outdid yourself.
Yeah, it needs a remaster.
How is that tune original?
That was a Silva Gunner remix
Okay.
of a Hat in Time. You know that game?
I do know that game.
Just the indie darling. That was a video game rip from that.
Very cool. I didn't know that history.
Yeah.
I think we did it.
We hope you enjoyed our little looking back.
Yeah, we highlighted several bookmarks you can go peruse at your leisure that we think are worthwhile to seek out in Mobius Tube's history.
All right, on to the new content.
Right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hit you with the main course of episode 100. We'll see you soon. And we're back. So Heath, it's episode 100, and you were adamant we celebrate it using the number 100.
Gosh, remember the Fantasy Critic episodes?
That was a 2-year arc.
We might be able to bring it back if I get a lot better at bidding.
I think it's better if it's more than a 2-player game.
Agreed. Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to rehash the old Fantasy Critic drafts we've done.
I might cut that entirely.
Okay. Heath, you and I both went through a rigorous exercise.
I mean, it's always been in the back of my mind, every waking playing moment.
You and I have compiled our top 100 video game lists.
Yeah.
Our personal lists. And we've mashed them together to create the definitive Mobius Tube's aggregate top 100 games list.
Yeah.
Shout out to Samantha, who did the legwork to smash them together. We're going to be watching the fruits of her labor here in a PowerPoint form. Heath and I have not seen the master list.
No, we don't. I mean, we can guess.
These are going to be our candid reactions. But before we do, Heath, what was your methodology for compiling your list? Because it might have differed from mine.
It might, but I think this is... Whatever difference there may be is not going to affect the final product. We're still going to respect the final list. I chose to do this because obviously when you think of top 100, like top 100 songs have so much to do. You have like the actual musicianship, what they represented at the time, how well is it aged? Is it a banger? Nobody's looking at like Fur Elise as a banger these days. So the way I treated it was I imagined an alternate universe Heath who hadn't played these games yet and just how much he would enjoy them playing them in a vacuum. You know, no Bailea to play them with. Aside from like It Takes Two. Alternate Heath is playing with another alternate Heath in that scenario.
Okay.
So, and no you. I was just thinking, in a vacuum, if Heath played these games, put him in order of which ones he would enjoy from greatest to least.
Interesting. It sounds like you created your list trying as close as could be to construct your list through an objective lens.
Yeah. Yeah, there's games I have played 0 minutes of.
Right. That's the part that threw me for a loop. On your favorite game lists, there's games you have not played.
But I know that alternate universe Heath would love to play them if he had the time, had the hardware, and any other conditions.
I can understand where you're coming from. There are games I feel the same way about. For example, there are games that would have certainly made my list that are not on it because I have not played them. Things like Cyberpunk 2077 or
That's on my list.
Or Baldur's Gate 3.
That's on my list.
Would have assuredly been on Chris's top 100 list, but I just haven't played them yet. My list is less of a...
I thought that excuse was like too weak of an excuse. If I had never learned, if I learned about Mobius tubes today through this, like an article written of like top 100 according to these boys, and I saw that, where's this? Where's that? Oh, it's because he never played it? Well, then why am I bothering with these people?
I compiled my list as a snapshot in time. Hey, it's early 2024. These are the 100 games Chris feels the most fondly for. These are the ones
That's the same. These are the games that Heath is the most fond of.
The most fond of that I've
Alternate
actually...
universe Heath, who has played all these games.
Right. I did not use alternate universe Chris. I used IRL Chris. Yeah, I only counted games I played. All but one of the games on my list I have finished. And what are the criteria I evaluated them on? First and foremost, just how much I enjoyed them in my current living memory.
Yeah.
So there are games that maybe would be higher if you interviewed me in the thick of it, middle of a play session. But now that their memories have endured / matured in different ways, games have had different trajectories. Hearthstone has fallen off in recent years. Used to be a top contender. Now it's just hanging on there.
13 Sentinels has also cooled.
Okay. And I also assigned some of my criteria to like how innovative the game was / how much I respect the design.
That I respect.
That is a small component. Primarily, I'm just judging the games on how much I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And that was my criteria for compiling my list.
All right, let's just get into it because we have 100 to go through.
All right, here we go.
What's the time of the recording?
And we did a ranked order list. So the methodology for combining them, for example, my number one game would have 100 points assigned to it. My number 100 game would have 1 point assigned to it.
Right.
And then Heath and I's lists, we took the sum.
Yeah.
And that is how we created our aggregated list that we are about to dive into now.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Takes the 100 spot.
100 spot.
This is beautifully done.
Yes. Graphic design is great. Samantha said, don't yell at me when there are ties because it gets messy.
Oh, I almost wanted her to editorialize and say, these are tied, but this is the best one of the ties. I almost wanted like a third party tampering.
You wanted her to put a finger on the scales.
I wanted her to stop the count.
I told her to keep it objective.
That's fine.
So that was my fault.
Well, Ori the Will of Wisps allow me because I put 0 points towards this.
And it snuck on the list with 42 points. All came from Chris's list.
All came from Chris. That'll be interesting to see.
Right, the splits.
This will be crazy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Metroidvanias. Great game feel.
But this is the one with Bash.
Both Ori games have Bash.
Oh,
it's the core verb of Ori, just like Mario's core verb is jump.
Yeah, if there's 2D scrollers on this list, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say something about Inside, but we'll get there.
All right, moving on.
Chants of Sonar and Ori and the Blind Forest.
Interesting.
Okay, you got Ori on the brain when you hit the 40s, didn't you?
I ranked them consecutively, so that's why they're charting so close.
That's what boy, when I had to split up the Mass Effect trilogy, I made sure that they deserved their slots.
Got it.
I still have no issues with this.
Okay. Chants of Sonar, neither of us have played, but this is alternate universe Heath, who loves it.
Don't you think?
It's a fair assumption to make. Both of these games totaled 43 points.
Great.
They were ranked 98, shared ranked 98.
Yeah. Halo 5, Guardians, and Tacoma.
This is ranked 96.
I thought you differentiated Halo 5 is not part of the Master Chief Collection.
Not part of the Master Chief Collection. Also, this is In many people's minds, this is surely a hot take. Halo 5 is not beloved.
Is that the one with the amber? It's got orange is the main thing.
That's probably right.
Big ball in the sky.
Yeah. That might be 4. No, I think you're probably right. Halo 5 is the one where there's infamously a repeating boss battle that wears out its welcome in the campaign. And Tacoma.
Both space entries for tie for 96.
There's sci-fi synergy going on rank 96.
Should I play Halo 5 before I play all the other old Halos?
No. This is more of a, if I was making my list through a pure objective lens, Halo 5 would have not been on it. But this was a Chris from the gut enjoyment
Interesting.
list,
Oh, okay.
which is why Halo 5 made it.
All right. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
I think going forward, we should say the rank before the title.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Then here. Number 100. Number 99. I'll fix it.
All right, fine.
Yeah, number 95.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
Are you going to stop the producer from making my life easier? So,
with 45 points, what'll be interesting is we're in the games that barely make the cut, and they're just edging each other out by single point increments. But apparently, once we start to agree, the point gaps become increasingly large between entries.
deservingly so.
Yeah, I
Fantasy VII.
like the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Intergrade includes the DLC.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right, good.
Anything you object to so far, Heath?
I mean, on a 100 list, I'm not going to say that Final Fantasy doesn't belong. I think both Oris is kind of weird, but
we probably could have gotten away with one.
yeah, we probably could have gotten away with one. Yeah, I'm not going to take umbrage with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Very well. Moving on to
You should say the number, and then I'll do it.
number 94.
Dishonored: Death of the Outsider.
Yeah.
This is not 2?
This is the third Dishonored game.
Oh.
The much...
But 2 is better.
2 is way better.
Yeah, that's why, yeah.
Doing this exercise, Heath, whenever an Arcane game comes up and I'm like, oh, I love Deathloop. But you're like, but where does it fall in the rankings? And I've been loath to actually pin down my Arcane rankings.
Put you to the coals.
Doing this top 100 list forced me to rank them. And this is my least favorite Arcane game, Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. And yet I still like it. It's still a top 100 game. It gets 46 points from Chris, according to our stats here. Got 0 points from Heath.
So it's got blank, but what sets it apart?
It's shorter. It's only 3 missions.
Mm-hmm. Are the graphical upgrades at all?
It looks pretty much like Dishonored 2.
Okay.
There's a bank heist. That's pretty cool.
I do like that.
That's pretty cool.
I do like, and you have to escape. Well, you always have to escape.
Right. But no, the other Dishonored games / Arcane games are better than Death of the Outsider just because it was a bite-sized sampling of Arcane's output.
Good. Moving on. Tie for number 92, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard and XCOM 2.
Yes. I put Resident Evil 7 on my list.
I put XCOM 2 on my list. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, that's Welcome to the Family, Son?
Welcome to the family, son.
Okay. I can see it. I'd be too scared of survival horror to see it all the way through.
They're really good. It does help having a willing partner to get through it with you. XCOM 2, also kind of a horror game.
Yeah.
Based on how severe and permanent the consequences can be.
How high the stakes are.
Have you actually played XCOM 2?
No.
Okay. But you've played XCOM Enemy Unknown, the first one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what else am I going to play once I'm done with Midnight Suns? Maybe I dive back into the Firaxis catalog and finally play some XCOM 2.
But like you said, it has your least favorite RNG randomness.
Yeah, when the rest of the design chops are so good, I can turn a blind eye.
That's why it barely eked into my top 50.
Got it.
Moving on.
At rank number 90.
Yeah. Say that one more clean.
Tied for rank 90. We have Gears of War 2 and Monster Train. I put forward Monster Train, and Heath nominated Gears of War 2. I guess you make the call, Heath, whether or not to spoil future entries. Was this the highest Gears of War entry on your list?
Yeah.
All right. I have a hot take.
It's the best Gears of War game.
Gears of War 2 is my least favorite Gears of War game.
Why?
I even prefer Judgment to Gears of War 2. But that's not a popular opinion. I think the masses would probably agree with you. Maybe Gears of War 3 has an edge over 2.
Was there no active reload?
All the Gears of War games have active reload.
Okay, that's all I'm looking for.
That's all you're looking for.
No, that's not true. Judgment is second on everybody else's lists. But it's your least favorite?
Gears of War 2 was just Chris's least favorite. It rubbed me the wrong way. I was not there for the multiplayer scene. I just played the campaign and moved on.
That'll do it.
And I also played it very late when its cutting-edge graphics were far less impressive.
Okay.
But yeah, Monster Train slaps.
Monster Train slaps. I have no issue with Monster Train. Tie at number 88, Halo Infinite and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Interesting. Oh, this is our first collaborative score.
Wow.
So you added points to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
I did.
Heath contributed 45 points to it, and Chris, the guy who played it, gave 5 points to it.
I mean, if I played Revengeance in a vacuum, I think I would be. The only thing that would keep me from being excited is like actually having to parry and do the gameplay. Everything else is amazing.
Rising: Revengeance made my list for that bomb of a soundtrack.
Yeah.
And every time you do a Zendatsu and rip a spinal cord out, it feels so good. But Halo Infinite was my number 50, it looks like. And
you put like Halo 5 over Revengeance?
I must have. That is an unpopular take. Rest assured, but it's my list, damn it. I'll do what I want. But Halo Infinite is definitely better than Halo 5. The grapple hook alone sends it to new heights.
Stop. Okay, moving on. At number 87, LA Noire.
Okay. Is this the first game that has 0 Chris points backing it up?
I mean, Tacoma.
Oh, right. The rest were ties. You're right. LA Noire, our number 87.
You think that's too high?
From what I've heard, LA Noire has not aged gracefully.
No, but you got like the ambience and the actual like detectiving and all of the, I was going to say side crimes, but it's the side missions where you can answer distress calls. It's a fun Rockstar game.
You have to give it credit for its novelty, right? Not many games with an elevator pitch quite like LA Noire.
Yeah.
With its reading of people's faces and trying to tell if they're bluffing.
Even now, it's not in my top 50, but it's great.
It looks like it was just outside of your top 50.
Did I stutter? Moving on. Ooh,
wait. Actually, it was your number 49. If it got 51 points.
Oh, you're totally right. It just crested my top 50. That's hard to parse.
Yeah.
Okay, read all of the things on the screen.
All right, we've got a tie for rank 85. It's a tie between Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and What Remains of Edith Finch. Heath was the sole advocate for Metal Gear Solid 5, giving it 52 points, but it was a pretty even split. Heath and I almost exactly agreed on What Remains of Edith Finch, because I gave it 25 points and he gave it 27 points.
Yeah, so Edith Finch deserves the 85 slot.
That's where it belongs.
What are your thoughts on Phantom Pain?
I'm not upset seeing it here.
Because it's just better Hitman as far as I can see.
It's probably the pinnacle of the Metal Gear Solid franchise's gameplay. In an open world sandbox, that Fulton system is pretty cool.
It's fun. Even like the languages thing.
Which is integral to the story, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that You can infiltrate these bases stealthily from any direction because it's truly an open world game.
Audio listener, if you dislike stealth in games, just unplug your phone. Just let the battery run out and walk into the ocean.
Wow.
What?
But I'll say, as far as the genre of like walking simulator games that are completable in a single session, I think What Remains of Edith Finch is probably the best one, in my opinion.
I had Gone Home on my list. The other walking sim.
Had, as in past tense?
Well, we would have already seen it.
It's been cut.
Yeah, it got cut.
Didn't make the final top 100.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Tie it between Horizon Zero Dawn and The Walking Dead.
Horizon Zero Dawn?
I know you take issue with this game. You scoffed at it back on episode 4 when I first brought it up. I assume this is Telltale's The Walking Dead game?
Yeah.
With Lee?
Yeah.
That game blew up. It got Game of the Year nods that year. That was Telltale's like coming out moment.
Yeah.
And it's probably most people's most beloved Telltale game.
Yeah.
It's not mine. It did not make my list. Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, gets a tough
So imagine
short shrift.
Imagine Heath playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I just said Verizon. Like, yeah, the it's a cool environment, and I'm bow and arrowing these triceratopses with USB ports. But so tell me, what's the best? Is the best part of the game 30 hours in? Where is it?
I think some of the story revelations of how we got here resonate stronger than it had any right to.
How the early humans got there?
Yes. I think it's a pretty compelling piece of science fiction. Guerrilla needs credit for creating one of the most high fidelity gaming experiences I've ever had. It's really technically impressive. And there's some cool world building on the different inter-tribe dynamics in this sci-fi setting. And the bow and arrow archery mechanics are pretty darn smooth and satisfying.
This is 10 entries too high.
This is the greatest issue you've had with the list so far.
Horizon Zero Dawn belongs in the 90s.
It's the number, according to us, it's the number 83 video game of all time.
That's broken. Moving on.
Yeah!
Oh, no!
Yeah!
Whoa.
At rank number 82, we have Batman Arkham Knight.
What?
Yeah. This was being solely held up by Chris.
This was in your top 50?
Seems like it was number 46 based on the points I gave it. Yeah, my hot take, we disagreed with it. Every time this comes up, my favorite of the Batman Arkham trilogy.
It's the generic off-brand cola of the better entries in the franchise.
Well, for your sake, Heath, I hope we see the other ones up higher.
I heard you go, yeah, but all I could hear was the vroom vroom of the demolition derby that piece of shit Batmobile is.
Batman Arkham Knight underrated.
I mean, okay, whenever the Joker is on screen, I'm happy. But like, what are we doing, Chris?
How can you hate
the gameplay didn't get any better. It got worse. The stealth sections?
I don't agree with that.
The height of the stealth sections are in Arkham City, and the height of the combat sections are... We don't talk about the combat sections.
I doubt we have the nitty-gritty details to substantiate your claim, but in what ways did the stealth segments regress in Arkham Knight?
Oh, darn. He's asking the right questions.
It's probably been far too long for either of us to back up our claims.
I have a very hard time thinking of this. The Scarecrow sections regressed.
Maybe?
Scarecrow just speaks in a deep voice in this one, and just you breathe in a lot of gas, and the screen goes green.
How can you hate a game with that introduction to Man-Bat?
Oh.
The jump scare?
Okay,
it's so good.
Man-Bat is fine.
Okay.
Jump scares. It's no Outer Wilds. Okay, we should move on.
Moving on.
Number 81, Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yes, Red Dead Redemption 1. It seemed this was only me giving it points. Interesting.
I'm fine with this.
It seems like it was my number 45. And this is one where it's been a decade since I've touched it. I'd be curious if it holds up well, especially playing it after playing its sequel. Maybe it's a little bit like Red Dead Redemption 2 has the air of an HBO drama, and I'm not sure the performances in Red Dead Redemption 1 can quite hold a candle to that.
That was my only fear, is that if alternate universe Heath played Red Dead Redemption 1 in a vacuum, it would fall flat in the same way that probably like Half-Life 2 would fall flat.
It's more dated.
It has become dated, yeah.
But this, once again, my list was based on how fondly do I remember these games and how much did I enjoy them at the time. I really liked Red Dead Redemption playing it in 2012.
Everyone did.
And I have to give props for Undead Nightmare, which is a great expansion.
I never touched it.
It's so much fun. So it endures quite fondly in Chris's memory.
It might even belong higher. Like if you put Red Dead in the 70s, Red Dead 1 in the 70s on a top 100 list.
Yes, I think
it's justified.
If Chris were to revisit Red Dead Redemption in 2024, its position on his list would either rise or fall dramatically. I'm not sure which.
Good. Number 80
is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Very interesting. Okay.
I just don't like Souls games. They're too... If you miss a dodge roll, you got to go all the way back.
Even alternate universe Heath doesn't have the patience to invest in a Souls game.
I imagine just like Heath in a padded cell would probably only give the time of day to Elden Ring.
Okay. Because of that amazing world they built.
Yeah, just the way that the map expands.
I could see it. But no, Sekiro made it into my top 50. It looks like it was my 44. We're just doing a bunch of consecutive Chris games in order in this part of the list for some reason. But man, that parry system, second to none. It was really good.
For some reason, it's because a lot of the Heath games are Chris games, and you'll just see them later.
I see.
Moving on. Ooh, this is going to turn some heads.
All right, this is rank 78. We've got some D synergy.
Deceive Inc. and Diablo 3.
Am I mistaken? Is it called Deceive Inc.?
Yeah, look it up.
Is it Deception?
Oh, I think I messed up when I called it Deception.
No, you're right. Deceive Inc.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not the game I was picturing.
No, it's it's like a Fortnite. It's like a Team Fortress 2 looking stealth game.
Oh, and it's from like last year.
Yeah.
I think I own this game.
No way.
It was in a Humble Bundle.
No way. Give me that bundle. I don't own it.
When I saw Deceive Inc. appear in that bundle I purchased unknowingly, I was like, oh, this is the chaff they're using to fill out the list. And yet, it's our number 78 game of all time. What is this game?
No, it's you put on disguises. This is just better Hitman as far as Heath is concerned. It's a multiplayer game where you're trying to achieve objectives stealthily, and other people are trying to achieve the same objective.
Is it a misnomer to say this is the spiritual successor to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer?
It is not. That is well, the only difference being Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer is third person.
Okay.
That's why this one's hindered by the fact that it's first person. You might be able to toggle it, but still, Assassin's Creed had the better. This is more James Bond cartoony, whereas I would much prefer Assassin's environment. Diablo 3, is that the best Diablo?
Diablo 3 was the one I put forward here, and it's my favorite, but it's also the only one I've played.
Is there a Diablo 4?
Yes, came out last year.
Right.
And
surely Diablo 4 is better.
Maybe.
More dev time.
Yeah, I'm curious to try Diablo 4, but Diablo 3 made it on my list for being my favorite podcast game of all time. I sunk so many hours into Diablo 3, just game muted, podcasts on.
Oh my
but
God.
Yeah, I hit max level with all the character classes. I could not put it down until every achievement had popped. So some fond memories there. It is the best form of turn your brain off video game playing.
Really?
For my money.
Okay. I'm not married to Deceive Inc.'s placement. It could belong.
This is the highest my eyebrow has raised over the course of this exercise so far.
Well, get ready. Number 77, Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Nice. I'm happy to see it.
It's got the Hostess Club.
Got the Hostess Club.
Got the Kiryu impersonator.
Yes, it's the remake of Yakuza 2 running in the most up-to-date Dragon engine. Looks beautiful. And it also, the cherry on top of the Yakuza Kiwami 2 experience
is Dami Dane.
Is the Majima standalone chapters they introduced just for the remake.
The construction company?
That's in there too. You're right. That's a whole mini game, but there's some like standalone chapters where you get to play as Majima again, and it serves as like a surprisingly poignant closure to some story arcs from Yakuza 0.
When he was a suave businessman?
During Majima's origin story, yes. So yeah, Yakuza Kiwami 2. I need to play more of the series. Yeah, other games that would have made Chris's list, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and probably Infinite Wealth as well.
I can't get behind Majima.
What?
Isn't he just like a clown?
Originally, yes, but over the course of the Yakuza epic, he's no longer clownish. In fact, you would love Yakuza 0 Majima.
0, yeah.
Because he starts out as far from a clown as can be, and then you see how he gets there.
I watched the cutscene. I have no idea how he gets there.
It takes 50 hours, but by the end, you believe it.
All right, I should play 0 first.
That's the one to play.
BioShock Infinite?
BioShock Infinite, our number
What?
76 game of all time.
What?
Yeah, my favorite BioShock game.
I don't know about this.
No?
In the 70s?
You're a Booker DeWitt hater, Elizabeth hater.
I mean, Booker Catch, I'm sure the gameplay is good.
Yes, I'd say an improvement. The twists left my jaw on the floor. Is Columbia as iconic as Rapture?
I think
no.
no, Resident Evil 7 is better than this game. Is that yeah, I think Final Fantasy 7 is better than this game.
The remake we had on
Why
our
is this
list.
so high?
I really liked it. It looks like it was my number 40 game of all time.
Yeah, Chris's gut. Do you have diverticulitis?
There's a fairly small list of games I've had post-credits blues upon completing, and BioShock Infinite was one of them. It left that strong of an impression.
Okay, I mean, I know the ending. So I won't rain on your parade anymore.
All right, fair enough.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves,
Sea of
our
Thieves.
number 75 game of all time. It looks like this was Heath's number 39 on his list.
What's not to like?
I don't know.
The graphics.
It's so undirected.
The graphics and the story is poor.
There are so many games where the pitch is, hey, party up with your friends and make your own fun.
But you're not building a house in this one.
What are you doing?
You're taking other people's booty.
You're griefing other players?
No, like you swim up, right? You can get on proximity comms and like trade and stuff. And then you get in, you hack their chest, and then you get out before they ever notice.
Okay. What's the persistent progression like?
I don't know. I've never played it.
Get Alternative Universe Heath on the phone.
Hey.
If not for Deceive Inc., this would be the biggest issue I have with the list so far.
I didn't put it that high.
It's higher than Yakuza.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
And why did Yakuza? Oh, what did you give Yakuza?
It looks like it was our number 77.
Yeah, and you gave it a 41.
It was my number 41 game.
Yeah. Okay. Some editorializing needs to happen. No, see, like I think alternate universe Heath would just have a blast with friends.
I think the Sea of Thieves experience hangs its hat too heavily on the necessity of you and your friends being able to cobble together your own fun.
What? Because if you played it solo, it'd be a miserable.
I think it would be a slog by yourself.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't kill the game's chances, because I mean, like, I put some exclusive multiplayer games on my list, and if you booted up into a lobby by yourself, there wouldn't be a game there.
Right.
But I feel like there's not enough design in Sea of Thieves. There's not enough of an authored experience. It's kind of just like you boot into a lobby and it's an excuse to hang out with friends more than it is an authored experience.
But you can't author something like
the example you cited of stealing the booty.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't know enough about Sea of Thieves.
Have you seen the highlights of those clips of people like sneaking on your ship and making off?
I have not.
It's a thrill. I would have met, like, when I was having imposter syndrome making this list and thinking, does this really deserve the slot that it has? All I would do is just picture in my mind alternate universe Heath playing them, and I would just count the neurons that lit up.
Okay.
I would just count the number of fist pumps, and the thought of Heath making away with a big score from whatever like.
Oh no!
It happens to all a bunch of guys.
Keith's mic went limp.
Just stealing treasure from like a puzzle temple or whatever, and doing platforming or ship combat.
On account of having 74 more games to go, I will not contest it any further.
All right, contest that.
All right, our number 74 game of all time is Marvel Snap. I don't hate it.
It's a little high, maybe.
It's a little high, maybe. I hear there's some really smart design that it comes from like the members of the Hearthstone team. And they know how to make a digital card game. And this is like their second crack at the formula. So I don't hate it. All right. It is everything a mobile game should be. Bite-sized, and you get to the gamer juices right away.
Other games are more authored than this, but I was just counting neurons.
Okay. It's a two-way tie.
Weird. Oh, what?
Rank number 72.
Okay.
Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, and the Banner Saga.
Right, so this is reprise your thesis about, the fun is what you make of it. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
This is a VR game?
I'd never played it in VR.
Okay. It's also a traditional game as well.
Yeah.
But you need a partner.
Yeah.
And one person's feeding instructions to the other about defusing a bomb.
I just pictured Heath playing this game with friends who were able and willing and thought, this is a special experience.
You say special experience. I say it's a party trick. It's a gimmick.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't think this game has much staying power.
I didn't put it that high.
Hey, it's our number 72 game of all time.
Okay, maybe it belongs in the 80s.
It tied with the Banner Saga. I think the Banner Saga is woefully underrated.
Why?
It's the only other series. One? Yes, the only other series that dares to tackle the Mass Effect pitch to the same extent, where you import your saves and there are major consequences for your decisions in game 1 that come back to bite you in game 3. And it's made by an indie team, no less. Beautiful, one-of-a-kind, hand-drawn art style. Very engaging and stressful tactical RPG combat. Great writing, great characters. Great pacing because there's 2 storylines occurring concurrently, and they just keep alternating chapters, so you never get burned out on any one cast of characters. I struggled with where to rank the 3 games in the Banner Saga. I ultimately just put one of them, and it's kind of the stand-in for the entire series.
That's what I did with Red Dead.
Because they all kind of bled together for me. It's so funny to me. The screen, when you finish the Banner Saga, the screen you're looking at when you roll credits is the screen you open the Banner Saga 2 looking at. They pick up exactly where they left off. They might as well be one big game.
Oh.
And I just love it. The Banner Saga, Of the games that are going to be on our list, I assume it's going to be one of the ones I think is most underrated.
All right. You sold me. I think it firmly belongs where we put it. Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales.
Queen Meve, back at it again. This is our rank 71 game.
Number 71.
Yeah, it's really good.
This is Queen Meve, yeah.
This is probably the other candidate for most underrated game.
Boy, we like stealth games and we like card games.
We do like card games. Yeah, for anyone who hasn't played Thronebreaker, it's not just Gwent rehashed. It's like practically a full-fledged RPG. And full of likable characters, the great writing you come to expect from a Witcher CD Projekt Red game. I can't endorse it more.
How long is it?
Lengthy, like 40 hours.
Why? Oof.
It is not a small side project. It is a beefy game.
It's like a Pokemon game.
And like every card combat encounter you fight is the fight is handcrafted.
Like Inscription.
Like there's no recycled content. Every battle has been painstakingly engineered to offer a different experience.
I get that. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with its placement. Number 70.
Number 70, Dead by Daylight. When I was doing an exercise of predicting your list, Heath, I put Dead by Daylight significantly higher than this.
Even now, I think it's a little high.
Yeah. I mean, for my money, it's probably high.
Yeah.
But I was putting myself in the Heath shoes. It's pretty novel, an asymmetrical multiplayer game.
When you escape with inches away from the killer or whatever, if you are able to do a hard read, that's all Heath really wants. Is just give me games where I can make a hard read against a human being. It doesn't do it for me enough to make a hard read, and like that's why Marvel Snap got so high. I really like outthinking the opponent.
And this game gives you ample opportunities to do so.
This game did, freaking Deceive Inc. did, Marvel Snap did. Like that's I rank it so highly.
There's a little bit of that in Halo multiplayer matches. More than you might think.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh.
Where
like actually doing the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard reads about
the decoy, the Spectre. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
This is the number 69 that you warned us about.
No, it's not.
What?
It's a tie, which means it's number 68.
Oh, fair enough.
Samantha gave me a preview. She said, tragically, there is not a 69 on the list.
That's a good bit.
What a tie we have here.
Read it.
The tie between two sequel juggernauts. We have Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, and God of War Ragnarok.
Your thoughts? Is this the best Danganronpa game?
Stay tuned to find out. The community would tell you, yes, it is.
Okay.
But this is Chris's list.
Jesus.
So we'll find out.
Oh, my God.
But no, Danganronpa 2, I played the whole trilogy. I think Danganronpa 2 has my favorite individual murder case in it.
Uh-huh.
It's the pinnacle of the series, and that's why I have it so high. God of War Ragnarok was Heath's nomination. Had I played it, it would certainly have been on my list. But as it stands, I didn't give it any points.
Then let's move on.
I need more water.
Yeah, do your water. And as a special sweepstakes for the 100 episode anniversary, we will be giving away free copies of our number one game. Just go to the developer's website and use promo code 100.
As soon as we find out what our number one game is,
we will contact the developer. Yeah. We'll do some side lunges. Oh, you need to take those pants off. You're never going to get the full range of motion.
they're stretchy.
Oh, I'll take your word for it. Number 67, Bloodborne.
I'm surprised you didn't throw it any points.
I put one Souls representative on my list. I thought that in a vacuum, Heath probably wouldn't even get past Yarnum.
Even alternate universe Heath.
Yeah. I would say that it's just too labor intensive.
Cleric Beast is as far as you get? Or do you get to Father Gascoigne?
I definitely don't get to Father Gascoigne.
Damn, okay. I think Bloodborne probably deserves to be higher than our number 67.
Probably, yeah.
It's pretty special.
But people are going to be like, how come there were no fighting games? How come there were no racing games?
Oh, because it's the Mobius Tubes list.
Right,
And
so
to include those would be disingenuous.
Mobius Tubes doesn't put Souls games that high.
I guess you're right. We don't put them that high.
As much as I love Bloodborne's style.
And world building.
Yeah.
The twist. Yeah, I guess you're right. Since it is a Mobius Tubes list, charting at number 67 is about what you'd expect.
That being said, just everyone in the chat is saying Heath equals maidenless. Moving on to number 65.
Tie at number 65, it's Devil May Cry 5 and Half-Life Alyx. Okay. I could envision Chris really liking Half-Life Alyx.
Right?
If I got my hands on it.
Just carrying a bucket.
The things I've heard about it are kind of crazy.
And it's a good place for it is number 65, I reckon.
Yeah, it seems appropriate. I'm also not upset with seeing Devil May Cry 5 at 65.
Oh, then we are in agreement.
We are. Devil May Cry 5 is my favorite character action game.
Imagine what could I have said? Mine is Killer 7.
Okay.
I just name dropped anything.
Hey.
Detroit Become Human, number 64.
That's right. It got points from both of us.
Ooh, interesting.
More from Heath.
From Heath.
But we're both fans of this game.
Yes.
I remember my one sentence summary back on episode 6 where, man, I sure do like playing this game a lot more than I respect it. Something along those lines where I found...
And that's the inverse for Bloodborne. I sure respect this game more than I enjoy playing it.
Got it. I sure did enjoy my time seeing the branching story trees and the buddy cop dynamic with Connor and... What's his name?
Marcus.
But...
Or excuse me, no, sorry. The buddy cop is with friggin' Mr. Krabs. Clancy Brown.
Okay. That's right. The same voice actor. But the heavy-handedness with which David Cage attempts to tackle race inequality, it leaves a little to be desired.
He is wooden. Okay, moving on. Let's just move on. Number 63.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
I can't avoid it.
This is a good Assassin's Creed game. I am not upset seeing it on the list.
Good.
It is my favorite of the Ezio trilogy.
Oh, good.
I wonder if we will see any more Ezio. I don't think so.
I do not think so.
Okay.
Let's just move on.
Moving on.
Wow, number 60.
Number 60 is a
Three-way
three-way tie. Would you do the honors, Heath?
Marvel Spider-Man 2, Titanfall 2, and Mass Effect 1.
Very interesting.
I gave Mass Effect 1 many points.
You did. Interesting. Heath gave Mass Effect 1 55 points, and I only slightly bolstered it with 15 points. Mass Effect 1, for as much as I love the franchise, there is a great disparity in how much I like that first game. I think it does a great job setting up the universe and establishing the world building, but playing it has always been a little bit of a chore for me.
Agreed.
But I love its follow-ups way more. My fingers were crossed Titanfall 2 would make the list. I was afraid it would slip.
No, it has the best level.
Titanfall 2 is so underrated.
Right.
I really struggled with whether to put Titanfall 1 or 2 on the list.
Oh, what?
Which is crazy,
What?
right? Because everyone knows Titanfall 2 is obviously the better game. Titanfall 1 didn't even have a campaign. But in Chris's gameplay history lore, I spent way more time with Titanfall 1 than 2.
Interesting.
Just because at the time, Chris was an early Xbox One owner with not a lot to play.
Yeah.
And Titanfall was my solve for that issue. But I love Titanfall 2's campaign.
Are you
It's
just
so creative.
Are you puzzled at how many points I gave Marvel Spider-Man?
Okay, I didn't even register for me until now that it's Marvel Spider-Man 2, the recent game.
Yeah.
You gave it, oh, wow. So since you gave it 70 points, it was your game number 30.
Yeah.
That does surprise me.
Don't you think?
Everything I've heard is, oh, it's just such a safe sequel.
Yeah.
That said, in the way it's a very iterative, safe sequel, if you consider them in a vacuum, it probably is the best of Insomniac's Spider-Man games.
It's probably more fun per minute than Red Dead 1.
I'd have to weigh in on a game I haven't played. So
That's all I ever do.
That's all you ever do. I think Marvel's Spider-Man 2 should be lower. Arguably
in the
shouldn't.
80s.
Arguably should barely make the list.
All right, fine. Moving on. Tie for number 58.
2 sweaty games.
One is a I don't even know how to do this joke. One is a cerebral, action-packed blockbuster, and the other one is Returnal.
The 2 games are
Returnal and Nidhogg.
funny.
Did I leave a D off of Nidhogg? Is there supposed to be 2
The
Ds?
listeners will never know.
All right.
I've enjoyed my times playing Nidhogg. I would not put it near my top 100.
All right.
I'm happy to
Your
see.
top 100?
Yeah.
It's better than BioShock Infinite.
No. All right, yeah. Moving on.
Moving on. Number 57.
Number 57 is Pyre. The most underrated Supergiant game.
I couldn't think of what alternate universe Heath would think of Pyre.
Yeah. The issue is most people don't think of Pyre. That's the problem. It's so damn good.
Darn. Well,
yeah, please play Pyre if you even have a cursory interest in Supergiant and their games.
I do.
Man, how have you only played Transistor?
Just Transistor.
What irks me is you played Transistor early in the Mobius Tube's career, loved it, and then never followed it up. Never, not once.
Oh, driving you nuts.
It's painful.
I have no excuse. All right, Pyre's good.
There is no excuse.
Pyre needs to be higher.
Hey.
Moving on, number 56.
Shadow of the Colossus, the 2018 remake.
This is the game that, this is a good rank for it.
Yes. In fact, I wouldn't have even been upset to see it higher.
Oh, sure.
It wasn't on my list, but this is a deserving game to be in a top 100 list.
Let's just move on.
Let's just move on.
Number 54.
Yeah. Oh, these two tied?
Immortality and The Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
It would have been a little bit more funny if it was Breath of the Wild, I think. But
maybe, yeah.
Man. Listeners should be able to know who gave points to what here. Yeah, I mean, I love Immortality. It looks like it was my number 26 game of all time.
I could see it.
You could see it.
Yeah.
And Heath's number 26 game of all time was Tears of the Kingdom. We won't rehash it, but Immortality was a jaw-dropping experience for me. And Heath's jaw dropped for all the wrong reasons.
Moving on. Tie for number 52. Death Stranding and Doom 2016.
Very cool.
Look at how many points I gave it.
Wow. Doom 2016 is your number 25 game of all time.
Don't you think? You like Doom Eternal better.
I like Doom Eternal better. In fact, Doom Eternal so thoroughly supplanted Doom 2016 for me.
Wow.
Doom 2016 ended up not cracking my top 100.
Wow.
The disparity was that large.
All right.
But that said, Doom 2016 was a very good game. I just thought it's been thoroughly replaced.
Well, nothing could replace Death Stranding.
Except for Death Stranding 2. With that electric guitar, am I right?
Is it?
Oh, have you not seen the new trailer?
No.
All right, don't worry about it.
All right.
Oh, so you haven't seen the stop motion puppet pal on your belt who animates on the 2s.
That's awesome.
It's pretty weird. They're pulling a straight up like God of War Mimir on your belt.
You know what that might mean? Like the reason that it's animating on 2s might be due to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh.
Doesn't that animate on 2s?
Interesting.
Oh, I don't know. I'm talking out my ass. Moving on. Tie for number 50.
Tie for number 50.
Hollow Knight and Papers, Please.
2 worthy games.
That's fine.
Wait a minute. You gave Hollow Knight no points.
I didn't. If alternate universe Heath sat down with Hollow Knight, he would bounce off of it as hard as he did the Messenger.
Skill issue.
You know what? Sure. Yeah, maybe.
They both racked in 77 points. I guess I'm curious.
I'm not able to mount the difficulty ramp of side-scrolling action games the same way I'm able to just cook every last brain cell sitting on the final case in Golden Idol.
Sure, very different skill sets.
I have much more endurance for logic puzzles than I do hack and slashes.
You're a cerebral guy. I imagine had I played Papers, Please, it would have been on my list, but as it stands, unfortunately, I awarded it no points.
Let's move on. Tie for number 48. God of War 2018.
And Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, dude.
For Brawl to be on the list, I hope Melee and Ultimate are higher.
No.
Oh my God.
No, dude.
You're all about that tripping.
I'm all about Subspace Emissary.
Oh, the single player mode.
That it eclipses whatever fighting game perfection you could achieve in Melee or Ultimate. And Lifelight doesn't
World of Light.
Yeah.
It was cool, but it didn't have the production values of Subspace Emissary.
Subspace. I'm excited for my
cutscenes.
kids to play Subspace Emissary.
Really? Interesting.
It's just a smorgasbord.
And I see you gave points to God of War Ragnarok, but not 2018.
It gives me the Doom treatment.
The Doom
The
argument
Gears treatment.
applies. I wonder if I'd feel similarly. I've only played 2018, but God of War 2018 charts very highly for me.
Ragnarok's third weapon is apparently a game changer.
Whoa, okay. As it stands, I liked God of War 2018 so much, it caused me to question the relationship I was in.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Number 47, Doom Eternal. So just take some of my Doom 2016 points and put it toward this. This should be higher, seemingly.
Okay.
This should maybe be number 20.
As it seems like it was for me. I think it was my number 21. But yeah, love Doom Eternal. It's so good.
It's like chess.
It's like violent chess.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Number 46, Grand Theft Auto 5.
I can see it. I did not give it points, but it got 81 points from Heath, and it's our rank 46. What are you fond about with GTA 5?
I loved the grind. Getting more money, better weapons, faster cars, like the heist and stuff.
We're talking single player.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know you were the Red Dead Online guy, so maybe you liked GTA 5 Online.
I was, but there was no wagon training in GTA Online.
Got it.
This should maybe be higher. This should maybe be in the upper 50. Number 45, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Conviction.
Deluxe Edition.
Chris, this game is so good.
With 82 points, I know nothing about this game.
It's the most stylish third-person shooter.
The most stylish. So like great production values? At the time?
I love the typography. I love it puts a silhouette where your character was last seen by the enemies.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can reposition so easily.
That is very useful, exploitable information.
Yeah. Well, it's everything I want in a stealth game, and it's never been. I mean, I just searched what's the best Splinter Cell game, and everyone's like Chaos Theory, whatever, the Blacklist. But I dare people to cross-examine Conviction. The story is tepid, but the gameplay is premier.
Splinter Cell is a big hole in my gaming repertoire, so maybe I should fill it with this Conviction.
Shut up. Moving on to number 44 is Transistor.
How dare you? How dare you?
What, to put like GTA over Transistor?
Deceive Inc.? Heath gave Transistor 0 points.
I didn't think about it.
You didn't think about one of your favorite games? Man, during the exercise I did when I was trying to cobble together what I thought your list might look like for the prediction segment.
I would put Transistor in top 10.
Transistor was like, you had so many good glowing things to say about it. It was like your number 3 game that year.
I'm sure.
Damn.
In retrospect, Transistor should probably be maybe not in the 30s, maybe in like the 40s.
Okay, well, it's ranked 44 for us.
Ask me about Transistor at the end of this list.
Okay.
Moving on to number 43, Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
What?
Our number 43 game.
What?
That was my favorite game I played that year. I had such a good time feeding all of my students like 7 meals every day. And the story goes places, takes some risks, some real twists there.
Danganronpa, I understand, but Fire Emblem Three Houses, this would be like if I put Animal Crossing high up on my list.
This is debatably the best Fire Emblem game, a long-running,
that's not a high bar,
beloved franchise. People love this series.
People like anyone on our school bus? No.
I don't know who was on my school bus.
Moving on. Number 42 was Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Okay, we both had it on our lists.
We both had it on.
It raked up 85 points. Uncharted 4 is my favorite Uncharted game.
I heard it was debate whether or not 2 is better.
Right.
Is 2 the falling out of the airplane, grabbing the cargo net?
That's 3.
Oh, that's 3.
2 is climbing up the bus hanging off a cliff.
Yeah, that's good too.
In the snowy environment. Uncharted 2 is my second favorite Uncharted game, so it's a good pick. But I think 4's darker themes and kind of like reflective look back on Nathan Drake as a character and his career and his legacy, pretty poignant. The gunplay is the best it's ever been. They had that experimental open world segment with rope mechanics. That was kind of cool.
What makes Transistor better than Uncharted?
Well,
yeah, explain your rationale.
Oh, why do I like Transistor more than Uncharted?
Yeah.
Because Transistor.
There's nothing like Transistor.
More innovative gameplay. It's the pseudo turn-based style you don't see very often. The function system, those powers you collect, the way they're so interchangeable and serve multi-purposes and how you rearrange. There's so many different configurations that can really tailor your build. That's really cool. Short, poignant story in a contained package. Subversive final boss battle that they kind of throw the mechanics back at you. I'll just say no more at risk of spoilers. Supergiant Games' best soundtrack, which is saying a lot. Out of this world art direction, and Red's cute.
Okay. I forgetting Supergiant Games entirely was a blunder on my part.
Yeah, it's an easy way to make enemies of Chris.
Jeez. Okay, moving on. Number 41, Persona 4 Golden.
Happy to see it. Maybe the best cast a Persona game has ever had.
Better than Persona 5?
Persona 5 is my preferred game. But the vibes of Persona 4 and getting to know that crew of characters, probably unrivaled.
Fair enough.
This one has...
Why haven't we seen 13 Sentinels yet?
Probably because that's a game we agree on, and games we agree on get sent to the stratosphere in the rankings.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, Persona 4 Golden, heartbreak. That song will never leave my head.
On to number 40, Undertale.
Look at the discrepancy in those points.
Are you going to tell me that Undertale is worse than
Batman Arkham Knight,
BioShock Infinite?
For the amount I enjoyed them, yes.
Did you? Were you just spoiled on the twists and stuff?
Is
the bullet hell annoying?
I was slightly miffed that I tried to pursue the pacifist route and accidentally killed Toriel in the tutorial.
Okay.
Undertale gets points from me mostly for its fourth wall.
I gave this the same number of points as you did to Transistor.
Yes. For the listeners, Chris gave Undertale 2 points and Heath gave it 86 points.
I think the way you feel about Transistor, I feel about Undertale.
I think that could be true. Undertale, I like for its soundtrack mostly, and it's like fourth wall breaky stuff.
Yeah. Okay, should we move on?
Sure.
Number 38 has a tie.
Oh,
interesting.
God.
Interesting.
The tie is Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Yakuza 0. 89 points they both received.
We're going to tie for like 10 through 2.
I don't know if we will.
Maybe. Yakuza 0, I could see it here.
It's my favorite Yakuza game. It's so good. I can't believe how good it is.
All right.
Tell me about, are there other Pokemon entries we still have to look forward to?
No, I chose the best Pokemon game.
Okay. Are these are remakes, right?
Yeah.
Of which generation would this be?
2.
Generation 2. Okay.
I mean, it came out in Gen 3, so you'll see Gen 3 guys up until that point.
That's probably a good gen to include on the list.
Let's harp on it after we finish it.
Okay.
The list, I mean. Number 35 is a three-way tie.
Three-way tie.
Interesting.
We have Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, Super Mario Galaxy, and Alan Wake.
I gave Alan Wake a lot of points.
Wow. I thought I was going to be the sole person coming to bat for Alan Wake, but you really bolstered it. Everything tied at rank 35 here scored 90 points. Heath solely propped up Super Mario Galaxy. I was Danganronpa V3, and our powers combined got Alan Wake to rank 35.
It's good that you are preaching the Danganronpa because I have no I'm sure I would enjoy I have a huge question mark for Danganronpa.
Right. The things that turn you off of 13 Sentinels will be even more potent in Danganronpa, unfortunately. But
and yet it was number 10.
I think it was my number 11. I forget. It was my number 10 or number 11, somewhere around there. It was my favorite cast of a Danganronpa game, and I think the average case quality in Danganronpa V3 was the highest in the series. Janice, I'm calling you out. How dare you drop Danganronpa V3 before you hit the very first earth-shattering twist in the first case? That is a crime, Janice. I'm putting you on blast. You've had years to finish this.
Oh dear.
It's my favorite one, and you abandoned it.
He'd have to play through the whole beginning again. He's probably forgotten.
He didn't get very far. He could do it in an afternoon. Janice, fix that shit, please. Hey, Super Mario Galaxy, that's a great game. I felt a little bad not giving it any points.
Yeah, what? Because just, you think that there's other Marios that replace it?
I think it's only second to Odyssey.
I don't think Odyssey's better. I like Gravity. I like small Dyson sphere worlds.
You might be right. I don't take issue with the Super Mario Galaxy's placement. I think the internet at large would be like, Alan Wake, the number 35 video game of all time, really?
I had a alternate universe. Heath had a lot of fun with the gameplay and the highlight of the concert there.
It's so good.
I think it fits.
No, I love it. I gave it 18 points.
I gave it 28 on my list. That's fair.
Any Stephen King fans out there, play some Alan Wake. You'll get a kick out of it.
Let's press on.
Let's go.
There's a tie for number 33.
We have Total War Warhammer 2.
So interesting.
And Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, that's a historically important game.
It's the best Call of Duty according to articles.
It changed the entire trajectory of what like an online multiplayer shooter is. Adding stuff like, ranking up, unlocking guns, having persistent progression in a sweaty multiplayer game, prestiging.
I think I put it too high. I don't think it's better than Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
I think if this was a list of the most influential games, it could be even higher. But if it's the list of the best games, yeah, it's probably too high. Wait a minute. You gave it 93 points?
I gave it too many points.
You gave it probably too many points. Oh my God. Should we see other Call of Duty representatives?
No.
You said this is the one.
Yeah.
Does that actually resonate with your personal playing history?
No, I've never played this game.
Your list is so weird.
But I can imagine in a vacuum doing the sniper level in Pripyat, being there for the beginning of that franchise. It doesn't belong in the top 10. I made a mistake putting it there.
Your whole methodology, Heath, the fact that you've played at least several Call of Duty games, and yet the one you include on your list is one you have not played, baffles me.
I'm trying to be impartial.
But in being impartial, you're making wild assumptions about how you feel about games you have not played.
I don't need to have studied every football team to know which ones are the best.
If Chris had applied your same methodology, Total War Warhammer 2 probably might not be on the list because it would have been replaced with Warhammer 3. But I haven't played Warhammer 3. And so here's Warhammer 2 in its place.
They might both be on the list.
They might both be on the list. In the same Doom situation.
You've gotten more enjoyment out of Warhammer 2 than you did. Why was Final Fantasy Intergrade so low?
When we did our top 10 last year, it was only my number 9 favorite game of the year.
Yeah, I guess so.
If there was an editor's cut that took out the plethora of bottom of the barrel filler content, its quality would skyrocket in my eyes.
Fair enough. No, this is this slide needs adjusting. Let's see if it gets better. It gets better.
Hey, number 32 with 94 points is Resident Evil 2, the 2019 remake.
This is the most equal we've done since, what did we both give, 27?
It was What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
But here, Chris gave Resident Evil 2 52 points, and Heath gave it 42 points.
I would have a rush playing this game.
Mr. X, he makes your heart beat at dangerous rates.
I would much more enjoy this game than Resident Evil 7.
Why do you think that?
Because my pants would be maybe like a brown and not just black.
They'd be brown instead of having a hole in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is what survival horror is all about.
Right.
Is Resident Evil 7 count as survival horror?
Yes,
It should
definitely.
just be, but it should just be like horror with some survival.
Because they're more similar than you might think.
Their genres are so different.
No, they're not. They're pretty similar.
One's a third-person inventory managing FPS, and then the one's a first-person chainsaw wielding spookfest.
The feather in the cap of Resident Evil 7 is that it went back to the series' roots.
How can you say that?
That's why everyone was so high on it after Resident Evil 6, which had lost the formula.
Welcome to the Family Son?
Welcome to the Family Son was a return to form for the series.
It's the first-person camera.
They modernized it with the camera, but had the actual level design and resource management take a front seat once again. And like lower enemy counts. You're not mowing people down in a shooter. You've just got 1 or 2, maybe 3 people at most to contend with.
That's the roots?
Yeah. Resident
In
Evil,
the RPD?
Resident Evil is like low enemy count, but they're very imposing.
If you say so.
Yeah, I can say so, having played these games.
Resident Evil 4?
It's where it starts to become more of an action game.
The one with Nemesis? Maybe, yeah.
No one has ever played Resident Evil 3, so we don't know.
Okay, good. All right, let's move on. Number 31 is Frostpunk.
Number 31 is Frostpunk. I was just waiting to see it. As a Mobius Tube's top list, I can't be upset with its inclusion at all. It defines us. It defines you, at least.
I think it's the perfect game the same way, I don't know, you think friggin' Pyre is the perfect game.
Heath gave Frostpunk 95 points.
I couldn't give it any less. It is peak relaxation.
Relaxation,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
People always say how stressful of a game it is to play.
No, when you can just figure out the formula,
Which playthrough number was it for you where it became relaxing?
maybe like 8.
Man, you do like this game.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, let's just move on. Number 30 is Persona 5.
Damn, you didn't throw any pity points at Persona 5.
I didn't.
And you stand by that? Choose your words carefully.
No, I think I would put Danganronpa up higher than Persona, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
Man. I gave Persona 5 97 points. And it's my favorite Persona game. The one asterisk, had I played Persona 5 Royal, it would probably supplant Persona 5 Vanilla,
Yeah.
based on what I've heard everyone say.
It's a remake, right? Yeah.
It adds like a whole new semester to the game, which is crazy. I need to play that. But yeah, Persona 5, great game. Rivers in the Desert, Keepers of Lust, love those songs.
I don't even know Keepers of Lust.
It's a good one.
Okay,
It's like a mini boss.
Ask me about Persona 5 after this list. We have a tie for number 28.
We have 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, and Batman Arkham City. Most people's favorite of the Arkham trilogy. They both clocked in at 98 points. Whoa! All right, here's the pop-off moment.
What?
Heath gave 98 points to Batman Arkham City, meaning this is like your number 2 or number 3 game.
That was not right.
Was there a slip-up? Where is it on your list?
Let me tell you. Oh, yeah, it was number 3.
So that checks out.
I'm glad it's higher than
All right.
Arkham Knight
All right, defend this being your number 3 game of all time.
because it's just from beginning to end, I would have a hard time putting it down.
Does it
It's
eclipse
like
Arkham
the
Asylum?
open world death loop experience I want, with like the stealth and just the Batman character and style behind it, and then all the On top of that, the highlight moments being like the Mr. Freeze fight and the ending with Joker and just the climax of making your way to the top of the tower. There are some take it or leave it things with like the League of Shadows, but I was just asking myself, did more neurons light up when I was playing that game versus Batman Arkham City? And I just enjoyed everything else, all 97 of my other games, not to the same extent that I did Batman Arkham City.
I have to agree, the Mr. Freeze fight, really good. The conclusion to the story right at the very end, very good. I feel like if we played Arkham City today, it would reek of early open world game design.
What, being like a barren?
Being, very empty.
I'd never fast travel, by the way.
You use the grapple hook all the time. I don't know. I suspect people.
I feel like it's easily mitigated through the Batwing flight challenges that make you just way faster.
I think Arkham City is probably viewed with some level of rose-tinted glasses.
Let's put it to the test. That remains to be seen.
But the other one tied for rank 28 was 13 Sentinels, a game we both gave points to.
We did.
I gave 68 points and Heath gave 30 points. So we weren't quite in agreement, although we both like it quite a bit.
I couldn't justify it getting much higher.
What held it back for you?
Some of the flavor text involving like Natsuno's locker room time, and
she did spend too much time in the locker room.
A lot of time with the girls, and then friggin' what's his rich boy that's talking to his TV. There's probably, like, with the exception of Juro's story, there's characters where you could take 45 minutes of runtime of just listening to that person's inner thoughts, listening to that conversation, and just rip them right out. And I don't think it would affect the overall experience. Just think if this were a real book, like little expository flavor chapters that I don't want to call them filler, but just looking back, I thought it deserved what it got.
The entire combat portion of the game.
Combat portion of the game was good,
but a little bit bolted on.
13 Sentinels is good. That's why I put it at number 70.
I put it much higher. It really exemplifies the saying, wow, it's about the journey and not the destination. Because the conclusion left me a little cold, but man, every minute we spent getting there, I was loving it, theorizing where the plot could possibly be going. I also really like how you jump into different characters' shoes. Of course, 13 Sentinels, 13 protagonists. You get to explore their stories. And I like that the character arcs, depending on who you inhabit, are structured differently. Like there's the Groundhog's Day story and an Amnesiac story. They're all structurally quite different, which gives narrative variety to the entire lengthy experience. I quite like 13 Sentinels.
Still, I think that like Resident Evil 2 Remake should be higher.
It's just a few ranks behind.
That's why I did put it higher. Let's move on.
But I ruined it for you.
Yeah, you ruined it. All right, there is no tie for number 27.
No tie. It is solely held by, say the name, Heath.
Civilization 5.
Heath gave Civ 5 100 points. Very interesting. This is your most, correct me if I'm wrong, is this your most played game of all time?
It's my most played game of all time. It's my number one game. You play it once, and there's like 45 other leaders that you could choose. And just boot it up right now. And the on-ramp is easier than Total War. Much like... Just focus on your Civ. It's just so eloquent.
Lower rules overhead.
Yeah.
Getting on board with
I
Civ
don't
5.
need Europa Universalis.
Does Civilization 6 make... Well, at this point, it's not going to be making an appearance.
Right.
Was it on your list anywhere?
It was. It was number. I'm trying really hard. It was number 65 on my list.
Okay.
The reason it got so low is I don't like the presentation. I don't like how the characters are all Team Fortress 2 lookalikes, skibbity toilets. I liked Civ 5. It's a lot more open. You could play a certain style, and the game would reward you for it. Civ 6, it kind of forces you into being early archery, go into feudalism. I've never gotten to the late game of Civ 6 because it's yeah, and I watch playthroughs of people doing so, and I'm sure the culture victory is a lot more fleshed out. The diplomatic victory is a lot more balanced. Religion in Civ 6 is more streamlined, but those pale in comparison to the presentation in Civ 5 and just the overall blank canvas, do what you want.
Okay. Civilization 6 is less sandboxy.
You can't get away with doing nutty playstyles in Civ 6. If you choose a playstyle in Civ 6 that's unorthodox, you won't progress in the civics tree or the tech trees as fast as your opponent.
Got it.
It wants you to play a certain way. And that's a strike against it. Moving on. Number 26, The Last of Us.
Number 26, The Last of Us.
I gave it many points.
With 101 points, meaning from here on out, the rest of the entries needed both of our approvals.
Right.
So the rest of the list is all exclusively crossovers.
This will be interesting.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, Heath gave it many more points than me. Heath contributed 91 points, and I gave it 10 points. I like where it shook out in the rankings. I think it's probably a little overrated, but I cannot deny The Last of Us. Man, it sure did prove games could be movies too.
It's better than Resident Evil 2. Surely.
I found more mechanical satisfaction in Resident Evil 2's resource management than The Last of Us's.
How?
How?
The fact that you could turn alcohol into a med kit or a Molotov cocktail, that offense defense.
Maybe it warrants revisiting The Last of
Distilled,
Us.
pun intended. Sorry.
The Last of Us's story sure does run circles around Resident Evil 2's story. I'll grant you that. The ending of this The Last of Us deserves all the praise it gets. It's pretty darn...
I put this higher than Control.
Heath, this has been a long segment. What do you say we take a break? Listeners, why don't you go grab a beverage and refresh yourselves, and we'll return with our top 25.
And we're back.
And we're back. We're in the final stretch here.
All these next ones are bangers, starting with this banger. Number 25 was Middle-earth: Shadow of War.
Very interesting.
Very equal.
Wow. Okay. Our number 25 game of all time with 106 points. Yeah, we're both contributing fairly equally. Did Shadow of Mordor make any appearances?
No.
What? I'm very surprised you included this game at all, much less ranked it so highly.
I would have a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah, I struggled which one to include. Shadow of Mordor was a bit more of a lean experience, but the best part of Shadow of Mordor, the Nemesis system, is that it's best in its sequel, Shadow of War.
Right.
So that's the one I went with. Man, more games need to rip this off.
Yeah.
To have your own personalized cast of characters in a game you form parasocial relationships with, and you exploit their AI in such interesting mechanical systemic ways. And the fact that every time you boot up a fresh save file, you're going to meet a whole cast of orcs unique to your individual playthrough that no one else will encounter.
It's interesting. We each put that hovering around 50 on our individual lists, and
Yes.
it ends up 25th.
It shows the huge power of when you and I agree, it skyrockets a game.
Guess so, yeah.
Because there's two of us. So it's both of us putting it around 50 is like one of us putting it as their number one game, kind of.
Kind of.
Plus, just the combat system in these games, very reminiscent of the Batman Arkham trilogy with the
good.
It's very rhythmic, and you look for the opportunity to counter. It's very satisfying. I love this game.
Number 24, Portal 2.
With 107 points.
I sent this to the moon.
Heath did the heavy lifting on this one. Heath gave it 96 points. I gave it 11
Do you
points.
think BioShock Infinite is better than Portal 2?
I believe I do. Yeah.
How much of a sad boy were you?
What do you mean? Once again,
Portal 2 is better than I wish your list still was in front of me. It was just like filling in slots.
Right. I know what you mean. No, I hear where you're coming from, Heath. Objectively,
So low.
Portal 2 is often topping people's games of all time list. This is just, once again, another symptom of it didn't really get Chris's dopamine flowing, but boy, do I respect it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Number 23, It Takes Two.
Number 23 game of all time. It Takes Two with 108
I'll give it more
points. Heath gave it even more points than me.
Yeah.
But we're both pretty even. Heath gave 59. I gave 49. No, it's one of the best cooperative games, if not the best ever made. That deserves high praise. How are you imagining this game fitting into your life?
No, I think I actually maybe gave it too many points.
Oh, okay. It's Call of Duty 4 all over again.
It Takes Two belongs in the 30s.
On our aggregate list?
On our aggregate list.
But so, I agree, 23 seems a bit high.
Yeah.
But I'm not displeased to see it.
But this next game is going to be perfectly placed. Number 22 is Prey 2017.
I think that is pretty perfectly placed. 110 points. I gave it,
you would, because it was number 20. It was probably number 22 on your list.
it
was 12.
I think it was in the high teens.
It was, yeah.
Or mid-teens. Yeah. Prey 2017, in my personal ranking, the second... Wait. Oh, interesting. I guess I'm going to weigh in. Heath, did you snub Deathloop on your list?
No.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Well, what counts as a snub? If I put it in the 80s.
On Chris's personal list, there's an arcane game between Death of the Outsider
Deathloop
and
was number
Prey.
69 on mine. So we may see it.
Deathloop was 69 on yours?
Yeah.
I expect we'll see it then.
Oh, darn.
Interesting.
We'll
But no,
redact that.
Prey 2017, especially with the inclusion of Moon Crash.
Oh, I wasn't allowing the inclusion of Moon Crash.
It's part of it.
All right.
You look eager to move on.
Number 21 is Dishonored 2.
Wow, we've hit the arcane fest here. Interesting. Dishonored 2. I gave it 96 points. Heath gave it 16 for a total of 112. I was hoping to see this higher, I'm not going to lie.
How good is it?
Oh, I gave it 96 points. I know it's my number 5 on my list.
I mean, you're coming in and out of events, right? Does this have its own masquerade ball?
It does not have a masquerade ball, but it has that clockwork mansion.
Oh.
It has that time-traveling crack in the slab, which does Titanfall 2 better than Titanfall 2.
That's not true. That can't be true.
But it is true. That's the secret no one wants you to know.
The reason I panned it is because first-person stealth bothers me.
Right. You learned that when you played Dishonored.
I want third person.
It's funny that they both track equally for me. I have no issue with either. You have less situational awareness in first person, but I feel like the game is balanced to account for that.
If you say so. But let's move on.
Okay.
Ask me about Dishonored 2 after the end of this list.
Along with Persona 5 and a few others, I think.
A few others. Number 20 on our list Oh, there's Deathloop.
Deathloop's above Dishonored 2 and Prey? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
This is against the Chris ordering of Arcane games. You came in clutch for Deathloop. You gave it 32 points. I gave it 81.
Yeah.
So Alternative Universe Heath ranks Deathloop above Dishonored 2.
I think I might have just... When I saw Dishonored 2, I think I just thought of it as more Dishonored. I didn't think of Clockwork Mansion.
I see. So maybe some finessing we could do with the numbers to get them to flip-flop.
I still think this list is nigh perfect if we just move like 10 things.
We'll see. We've got 20 to go, 19 to go.
All right, good. Okay, number 19 is The Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Yes.
We're pretty close on it.
I think this is a good spot for this game.
Makes
It
sense.
has 118 points collectively.
It's the open world daddy of them all.
Is it the best Bethesda has ever Bethesda'd?
Fallout has something to say about that.
Which one would you nominate to contend with Skyrim?
New Vegas?
Well, that wasn't Bethesda, though.
Oh, okay.
That was Obsidian.
Obsidian. Then yes.
Then yes. Skyrim occupies a similar space to Red Dead Redemption on my list, where I'm not sure how I'd feel about it if I were to revisit it. This is a game I haven't touched properly since like 2011.
Oh, I think it's...
No, 2012.
I think this one ages better than Red Dead 1.
Interesting. It certainly has impeccable vibes. And exploring the province of Skyrim. I love the snowy landscape. It gets major points for Chris being the game that got me back into video games.
Interesting.
When bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 15-year-old Chris saw that Skyrim trailer,
And he heard the Dovahkiin theme tune.
he asked Mom and Dad for an Xbox 360 for Christmas so he could play Skyrim, and he spent the next month of his life ignoring Andy's request to hang out after school
Wow.
and playing Skyrim instead.
That's why you weren't his best man.
And I'm not convinced it wasn't a bad choice.
That's well, I'm gonna redact what I said. That was so funny. Okay, good. Then it is firmly in number 19.
Firmly a Mobius Tubes number 19.
Yeah. Okay. Number 18 was Slay the Spire.
I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
82 points for me, 39 from
That
Heath.
is perfect placement for you.
Pretty much perfect. Total of 121 points, Slay the Spire. In my head, I had trouble reconciling why do I give such an edge to Slay the Spire over Monster Train? And I'm not sure why, actually. I think that needs more reflection. But Slay the Spire is my favorite deck-building roguelike experience. I've played it, for nearly 50 hours, and I'm eager to return to it. There's more difficulty levels to climb, more card synergies to unlock. It is possibly an evergreen game for me.
Well said. I'm sure once I play it, I'll feel similar.
Yeah, at least you'll give it at least 39 points, it looks like.
It looks like. On to number 17, The Case of the Golden Idol. This seems high.
For a top 100 games of all time list, it does seem high.
This seems like head-cockingly high.
Because Heath gave it 57 points, I gave it 69 points. Nice.
I think it belongs in the top 30.
Yes. But it appeals to our detective solving skills so much, we both gave it big props, and that sent it rocketing up the list, which is why it's at number 17. I'll be curious to see how much of a gap exists between Golden Idol and Obra Dinn.
Oh, well, Obra Dinn is amazing. Obra Dinn deserves where it's going to end up.
Where will it end up, Heath? Stay tuned.
Number
to find
16 is Inside.
Yeah, we're at the point where anything on the list from here on out, I'm just nodding my head, being like, yeah, I'm happy to see it. Because these are games we clearly both like.
Pretty close to exactly where I put it on mine. You did not. It missed your top 50.
It did. Heath was the bigger Inside fan. He gave it 87 points. I gave it 41 for a total of 128. It's so short and sweet, and that ending leaves you scratching your head, but in a good way.
It's not better than Hollow Knight. Or excuse me. Hollow Knight's not better than Inside.
I feel like it is. Granted, the scope of Hollow Knight is so much grander.
This is where Heath's gameplay preferences really bleed into this list.
Sure.
I'd much rather do a side-scrolling platformer than a hack-and-slash platformer.
Right. Inside, much more of a puzzle game versus the Metroidvania exploring with combat of Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you haven't played Inside, it's like 3 hours and often on sale for fewer than $10. So correct that mistake.
You know what was on sale for $10 the other day? I'm asking because I don't remember.
Probably quite a few games.
Gosh, it was like so low in price. Oh, Mass Effect. I think it was Mass Effect.
Oh, the Legendary Edition.
It was like $10.
Yeah, Samantha.
87% off.
Samantha bought it for 12.
Makes sense. Yeah. We have yet to see both Mass Effect 2 and 3. On to number 15. It's Hades.
Hades. Hey, you didn't completely forget about Supergiant. You gave it points.
Give it points.
I gave it 95 points. Heath gave it 40 points for a total of 135.
It's the best Supergiant game.
It's in my top 10 of all time.
I think Hades will give more of a thrill than Transistor.
Yeah, when you have that one run where all the stars align and you pop off and go way further than you expected to.
Oh, yeah.
Or you discovered a new synergy you never considered before in your build with your God-given boons. I think Transistor, just the nature of it being like a 7-hour game, the story is more concise and to the point.
Tighter.
Where Hades needs to, by its roguelike nature that you play over many runs, it had to dole it out via drip feed, which it does very well.
I put Nier Automata on my list.
And I love you for it. Why do you mention that?
Because I feel like we would have already seen it by now.
Surely it's coming.
Really? Okay.
Hades, so good.
Hades so good. Hades 2.
Probably so gooder.
I think you know what my prediction is going to be that like the gameplay is just as good. The story maybe not.
Surely my prediction is Hades 2 there's no universe in which Hades 2 is any worse than Hades.
Oh, okay.
Overall.
Well then we're gonna do like a Doom Eternal, Doom 2016
We'll have to see.
duality.
Right.
Let's go to number 14.
Let's.
It's Disco Elysium.
Disco Elysium.
I gave it more points than you. I wasn't expecting that.
That's quite the twist.
Yeah.
I feel like your relationship with Disco Elysium has been a roller coaster.
It has.
The first weekend you were hot off your 40-hour binge of Disco Elysium, and I was like, hey, should I hop on this soon? And you were like, nah, don't bother. And now look at us. Years later, it's our number 14 collective game with 137 points.
I'll defend it and just say that it's more fun than Death Stranding.
More fun than Death Stranding. Agreed.
Shut up. The only knock against Disco Elysium is the sedative soundtrack.
Oh, I quite like the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is so sad and boring.
It is melancholy, which could wear on you.
I need like detective funk.
For a game that can often be very lighthearted, having a funkier soundtrack wouldn't be totally out of place. You're right. I think Disco Elysium probably deserves its place as the best written game I've played. I think that prose is like pretty novel quality.
Get ready for this placement to age poorly. On to number 13. Halo the Master Chief Collection.
Which is kind of, number 13 with 139 points. I came out harder for it. Listeners may raise an eyebrow why we didn't split up the Halo games. I split up the Mass Effect games when ranking them. However, I didn't have individual experiences with Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and Halo 3. I came to all of those games via the Master Chief Collection.
No way.
Which is why I felt legitimized.
I thought you played Halo 3 solo. Oh.
I was a late comer to the legacy Halo games.
Yeah,
the first one I purchased a la carte was Halo Reach. But Master Chief Collection, it's kind of a hack since there's like 5 games in this bundle. But honoring those legacy Halo games, this is a good placement for this, I feel. And I have very like personal, fun memories of playing this in college, playing it with my friend Kyle so much, and getting to like educate myself on the roots of this iconic first-person shooter franchise. And plus the remake of Halo 2 that was new to this collection, really great work behind that. The blurred cutscenes in particular were revolutionized.
Did you say the blurred cutscenes?
The studio that made the cutscenes are called Blur. Is
God.
the studio name. They're second to none.
Halo number 13, I could see it. Might be a little high.
Maybe a little high. Why do you think alternate universe Heath ranked this in the middle of his list?
He put it in the middle because it's a shooter with the right kind of soundtrack and the right kind of combat. I think it's aged okay.
I think the story in 2, with its themes of questioning religious doctrine, are pretty surprisingly considered for what is a bro military first-person shooter.
Yeah. Okay, number 12. It's Marvel Midnight Suns.
Okay. I mean, I gave it lots of points, but even I think this is kind of high. Marvel's Midnight Suns collected 142 points with our powers combined.
Let's not worry about that. Do you think this would age the worst of anything on this list?
Is it recency bias pumping Midnight Suns?
Yeah. Is this doomed to fall into the 50s?
Marvel's Midnight Suns was the one game on my list I haven't finished because I'm mid playthrough. Maybe Act 3 is garbo, but I don't know yet. Midnight Suns, if anything, its critical trajectory is appreciating with time, I think, as people discover the game and they realize people slept on it. Marvel's Midnight Suns was my number 25 on my personal list.
Oh, is it my number 35? Yeah, Dodoy. No, yeah. Everything below it is probably not as fun as it. And everything above it is probably more fun than it.
This is maybe...
I put Nidhogg higher than this.
I'd be curious if this is our greatest discrepancy with like critical consensus. But no, I think it's a little high, but I think it deserves to make the list.
Let's keep going. Number 11 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, just misses the top 10. We both gave it a lot of points total.
Just because the polish.
At 157 points collectively, it scored. Yeah, you were saying.
I wasn't even thinking about the online.
Which could be factored in. It's part of the package.
I did give it a lot of points.
No, it's one of the greatest narratives I've experienced in a video game. It's far from being the most innovative game mechanically. A little bit antiquated.
I liked it more than Dishonored.
You're allowed to do that, Heath. It's your list.
I liked it more than Dishonored 2. You're not allowed to do it.
You're not allowed to do that only because you haven't played Dishonored 2.
Ah, that's funny.
No, Arthur Morgan, he's one of the great protagonists in video games.
It's like an inoffensive.
The only blemish is, what is it? Chapter 5? A little bit unnecessary.
When they go to Crazy People Island.
That felt like a little bit like padding. But no. Production value is off the charts. Rockstar's at their storytelling peak. And man, just looking at the landscapes, I would just gaze at them. And this is an element of the game I didn't even really engage with, but like the hardcore survival aspects that you could just spend hours of this game hunting and like upgrading your...
I never got into coffee.
There's a coffee mechanic?
I never brewed coffee.
Neither did I. The only warm liquids I went near were those baths.
Sure. Okay, we've entered the top 10.
We've entered the top 10.
It's no surprises here. Number 10 is
it's a tie.
Excuse me. Number 9 has a tie. Oh, are we going to tie for many? I predicted that, right?
I felt like ties would become less common as we got towards the top.
Interesting.
With 158 points apiece, we have Control and Nier Automata.
You talk about them, the games you've played.
Heath and I were pretty aligned with Control. 75 points from me, 83 from Heath. I think it's the best Remedy game I've played. Asterix, I have not played Alan Wake 2 yet. You need to get hands-on with Control, Heath, so you can back me up when I say it's weird in all the right ways. The gunplay is very satisfying. And when they hit you with the live-action cutscenes, you know you're in for a treat. And exploring the oldest house as a setting is very cool.
We cannot talk about Control without mentioning the oldest house.
Right.
Whatever that means.
It's the setting of the
game. Is that just Clockwork Orange? Or not Clockwork Orange, Clockwork Mansion?
Might as well be.
Sure.
And Nier Automata.
Nier Automata.
I gave it 98 points. Heath gave it 60.
Yeah.
It's one of my very favorite games.
I know I put it so low because I think the side quests and stuff would drag on me, but the ending would blow my mind.
Yeah. Nier Automata has my favorite ending to a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's my favorite Platinum game, so it's going to rank very high.
I totally forgot it's a Platinum game.
Right. And Yoko Taro took his great ideas, he conceptualized in Nier Replicant, and he made a much more palatable product and ported those ideas into Nier Automata, and it made all the difference in the world.
Did Nier Replicant crack your top 50?
It was not in my top 50, but it was in my top 100.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, we got to move on. This is probably going to be another tie. Nope, it's not. Number 8 is Inscription.
8 is Inscription. This is definitely a Mobius Tube's favorite.
We love dicks.
What?
I tried to do an Australian accent. We love dicks.
Decks?
Dick and building them.
With 166 points, yeah. Inscription, this game was like made to appeal to us, was it not?
The right kind of ambience with the right kind of gameplay.
Yes, we both gave it a similar amount of points.
Yeah.
But Inscription, a weird game to levy this praise at. It has some of my favorite boss battles in a video game.
What bothers me about it, I can easily brush to the side and say, yeah, it's not great, but it's Guarma. It's Guarma.
It's a game that's constantly reinventing itself. Man, the thick layer of mystique just coating this game when you boot up a virgin playthrough. Apparently not your second playthrough because that's tainted if you play on the same hardware you played the first one on.
Right.
But no, Inscription is a one-of-a-kind experience. Man, it's so good.
You mentioned the boss battles. I was only thinking of the bosses, not those bosses.
Yeah, those bosses, the ones that don't get mentioned.
Yeah.
Because when people picture Inscription, they only picture Act 1.
The 3, yeah. Or the 4, yeah. Okay, let's just move on. Look,
I don't want to rush our favorite games.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm trying to get you home.
I'm in no rush.
Okay. Number 7 is The Return of the Obra Dinn.
With 167 points, I can see it ranked very high for Heath.
I sent it to the moon.
With 97 points, I gave it 70. So I love it as well.
I'm just counting those fist pumps.
When you boot up Return of the Obra Dinn,
60 crewmates.
It feels like a Herculean task.
Divided by 3, there were 20 fist pumps.
20 fist pumps.
Times however many at the very end of just, yeah!
The art style's amazing.
I can look past it.
It's so cool.
It's the only reason Bailey hasn't played the game. Hadn't beat it.
But you can appreciate it.
I mean, it's an anachronism to a time we didn't have.
Yeah, we're not nostalgic for the time it's emulating.
I don't give that credit to Undertale.
Okay. All right. So I guess you weren't moved by the visuals. I thought they were
Looks
cool.
like piss.
It's my favorite type of mystery puzzle solving game where you do all the deductions yourself or they never get solved.
I'm trying to think of another mystery puzzle solving game.
Oh, a Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh yeah. Well, this it's more fun than Golden Idol.
I would say the Danganronpa games are also mystery adventure puzzle games, but they are more on rails, where the deduction, they kind of lead you towards multiple choice deduction, where Return of the Obra Dinn, just like our write-in Thomas said, it's a free-form detective game. Every revelation you must create from scratch.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Almost as amazing as number 6 on our list, Dishonored.
Weird.
What? Why?
Weird.
Why? That I gave this so much and Dishonored 2 so little?
Yeah.
I just forgot about Dishonored 2.
Damn. All right.
Just cut this in half and...
Well, you know what? I won't complain too much. We got a Dishonored game in the top 10. I won't nitpick over which number was following the title. Cool. Heath gave it 80 points. I gave it 88. Now, is this a symptom of alternate universe Heath liking Dishonored more than you, or has Dishonored matured favorably in your rearview mirror?
I think if I had the actual time to get really good at the platforming in a vacuum, no constraints, I would actually bother to silent assassin my way through and actually entertain the Bone Rune side quest over here. What's the mafia boss in the
Slackjaw.
in like the smuggler? Yeah, Slackjaw's alcohol ring. No, I thought like if I gave it its time, Dishonored would just be such a rich sandbox, and I would style on it so well. As to the same extent as the on-ramp for Batman Arkham stealth is anybody can just pick it up and feel like a superhero. Dishonored is not that clean.
Higher skill ceiling.
Higher skill floor.
Okay.
You got to
Both.
No. Dishonored has the higher ceiling and floor.
Right. That's what I meant by both. Both are higher.
Oh my God. We should draw pictures for the audio listener. No, I think he would enjoy it to the same extent that you probably enjoy it if I just gave it enough time.
Sure. It kind of...
But when I played it, I was just just trying to get to the credits.
Okay.
And so I freaking bonked my head on however many blink balconies.
Got it. So
Just
that
think
makes sense.
baby's first Arno Corvo.
You saw the potential in Dishonored.
Right.
Even if you didn't have the ultimate experience with it personally.
I know that if I gave it as much effort as the games I truly like, that I did give enough time because I was just a thumb-sucking child, I would love Dishonored.
I see. I'm happy with
I wouldn't
this.
love Hitman if I gave it enough time.
Okay. The difference being...
I don't like how it's a joke.
I mean, it can be played pretty seriously,
Yeah.
but there is that undercurrent of humor.
The rubber ducky thing. Yeah.
Dishonored, I'm thrilled to see it. I love the setting of Dunwall. I love the rich variety of ways to complete every mission in that game, be it completely non-lethally or as a maniac.
That's the difference between you and I is Batman Arkham is not as rich, but it's my preference for Arkham is better than Dunwall in like quantitative ways.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's just wall to wall with like comic book like funsies. Whereas
Are you referring to like the Riddler
Dunwall
trophies?
is like rats.
Well, let's see how many rats are in our rank number 5 game.
What a segue. It's Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect 3, 176 points awarded.
It seems high.
For an all-time list, it does
Number
seem a
5?
little high. I think it's my personal number 10.
It was going to happen to us. It kind of makes sense for our tastes. Listen to Mobius Tubes. They put Mass Effect 3 at number 5
Of all time.
all time.
It's, once again, I said it
Wow.
before, in the Venn diagram, any games we share just get signal boosted.
Yeah.
So, but no, here's the thing. Mass Effect 3 is almost as good as Mass Effect 2, my second favorite game ever.
Yeah.
So I had to put it high.
Yeah.
It's got the Citadel mission.
Yeah.
For that alone,
What do you mean? Finish that sentence.
For that alone, it deserves
In your
high.
top 10?
It's my number 10.
That's kooky.
I mean, it looks like it was your number 15-ish.
Right.
Way different than your number 10.
My Legendary Edition cracked my top 10.
Oh, right. As a complete package.
So I just docked this a bit.
Okay. Makes sense. Seems appropriate.
Let's press on.
Let's.
Rank number 4. We're in the top 5, people. It's The Witcher 3.
This feels like Heath giving me a birthday gift.
Just see my Dishonored explanation.
Okay. In another world with the time to dedicate to it.
In a vacuum, I would enjoy it that much.
All right. And that much.
No
all
more,
right.
no less.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Chris points 100. Heath points 78. Yes. So it topped my list. It's my favorite game. I have not been shy with that information. And
I'll tell you where it's sandwiched between on my list. Sorry, no, you should. Gave it number 100. Give us some explanation.
That whole journey you ended up enjoying across the Mass Effect trilogy. What if that was all in one game? And it was an equally compelling, albeit fantasy universe instead of science fiction. What if the decision-making structure of Witcher 3 was less gamified as Mass Effect, where Mass Effect is very explicit. Here's your dialogue wheel. Here's your Paragon choice. Here's your Renegade choice. If I'm doing my Paragon playthrough, I fall into the habit quite quickly of, I'm ignoring the option on the bottom. I'm just picking the one at the top because that's the kind of shepherd I am.
Yeah.
What if that was completely obscured to you?
Ooh.
In The Witcher 3, where it is extremely well written, it is not highly signposted to you, this is the good Geralt choice and this is the bad one where he hangs the entire village.
Chris, if there was that narrating tone in the game, I would have beaten this game twice by now.
In The Witcher 3,
here comes the butcher of Bolivia.
It manages to constantly have you navigate the murky gray areas of decision making without it being edgy, without it being, there's no right choice. No, there are happy endings, but it's just like in real life. You only learn the consequences of your actions far into the future at times. And it's not done in a gotcha kind of way. It makes sense despite the obscure decision-making that can lead to player frustration. Like, obviously, everyone who plays The Witcher 3 is gunning for the good ending. The writing chops were so compelling to me when I got the worst possible outcome at the end of my Witcher 3 game. It felt genuine, and any other outcome would have been undeserved for me. My canon ending is bad.
What?
And I love the game for making me feel like it could have been no other way.
I don't recall.
Not to mention that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has not one but two of the best DLC packs any video game has ever received.
Stonebreakers and Heart Lovers.
Heart of Stone, Blood and Wine. Some of the best villains and antagonists in video games. One of the best ensemble casts. The production values are out of this chart. And also, if I made a list of like my top 10 favorite side quests in RPGs, I think probably like 9 out of 10 of them would have been from The Witcher 3. The side content is as lovingly created as the critical path. Final Fantasy VII Remake, take notes, please. At no point do you feel like, this was made by the B team. It's all of an equally high caliber.
God damn.
I love The Witcher 3. When I played it, it was just 2.5 months of my life, and I don't think I did anything else, and boy, was it time well spent.
Okay, so it being number 4 on the list is fair.
It's fair. I don't mind that.
Okay.
Honestly, going in, I didn't think it was going to be on your list because you barely played it.
I went out of body mind experience, and I just counted the neurons.
You can count those.
Yeah.
How many neurons?
78. At least 78, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Hitting the top 3 now.
Go. Number 3 was Into the Breach.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Wow, look at us.
Look at us.
We're just mirrors.
I gave it 92 points. Heath gave it 94. 186 points total.
It's not better than Frostpunk, though.
On our collective list, it is.
No. That's wrong.
It's the best turn-based that's ever been turn-based.
I put Obra Dinn above this one.
Real? Okay.
Isn't that
So I'm the one who brought it down. Wait, no, I brought it up.
You brought it up.
I brought Obra Dinn down. I brought Into the Breach up.
Yeah. Which is what you're here to do.
Right. Of the many different genres that tackle strategy games on a grid,
Tactical, yeah.
this is my favorite one. More than any Fire Emblem, more than any Advanced Wars or Advanced Wars knockoff. Into the Breach is just, what is it, an 8x8 grid? Who knew you could...
Even its output randomness is perfect.
Because it gives you a one-turn advanced notice that you can plan around completely.
I was trying to say, like, there's like a teeny chance that the buildings survive the hit.
Oh, right. I just play like assuming the building's getting hit, and if it doesn't, that's a happy accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You should never assume the building's going to survive the blow.
I can't afford to.
Right. I love that Into the Breach somewhat subverts the turn-based strategy on a grid genre, where in that genre generally you try to, as efficiently as possible, eliminate the enemy force. Where Into the Breach is much more about how can I reposition the enemy force.
Yeah.
So that they're blocking the emergence holes, so that the enemies are accidentally shooting each other. They do the dirty work for me. It's just the best positional strategy game I've ever played.
It belongs at number 3.
I'm thrilled to see it.
Yeah.
I know what the remaining entries are.
Yeah, me too. Okay, number 2. It's Mass Effect 2.
It's Mass Effect 2. 191 points. I gave it 99. Heath gave it 92.
I might need to reconsider.
Think it's too high?
No, I think 92
Oh, too low.
was too low.
Interesting.
Because I said Into the Breach was better.
How many points did Mass Effect 2 beat Into the Breach by collectively?
Just the one.
5 points.
Or 5 points.
5 point swing.
Interesting.
It's the best Mass Effect game.
Which, yep.
I recently watched Samantha play her Virgin Suicide mission run. And
Wait, sorry, is Mass Effect 2 the one with the VTOL mission?
it is.
Oh, no, it deserves its spot.
You can ignore the Hammerhead missions. No, I recently got to experience the suicide mission through her eyes. And once again, I already knew how it works. It impressed me so thoroughly that they had the balls to make this gauntlet for you right at the end of the game, before you enter Mass Effect 3, where primary main characters are eating it left and right, totally changing the entire tone and trajectory of the conclusion of the trilogy for you. Yeah. It personalizes it.
Yeah.
Not to mention that it's got the best cast of any Mass Effect game. Man, that Tali romance slaps. Weigh in, Heath. You played this game.
Oh, yeah. It's just rich. It's story rich. And it's just enhanced by Mass Effect 3. You look upon it more fondly after you've done the whole journey.
Yeah.
Boy, did I miss Morden.
I can't believe you played Mass Effect 3 without him.
Yeah.
But that just changes our own personal Mass Effect histories. I'm also, for this game released in 2010, I think it holds up shockingly well. I've been watching Samantha play the remaster, and I'm like, the cutscenes in Mass Effect 2 have better cinematography than even Midnight Suns, released a decade later.
Really? Wow. Is this the one where, like, the Spectre double cross? And you take Arya? Or no, you take Liara?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Well, Heath, drum roll, please.
Oh, I mean, number 1 has to be the Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds. Oh, narrowly edging out Mass Effect 2.
Wow, really? Whoa,
by 2 points.
That's close.
It had 193. Ranked number 1.
Aside from Civilization 5, this is the game that would blow Heath's mind the most.
There is a case to be made. It blew my mind more than any other game. I think I can back that statement 100%.
I think the highs of the Mass Effect trilogy are like just out of reach of the highs of Outer Wilds.
I can't believe humans conceived of this game.
Yeah, he is so smart.
Mobius Digital, the developer.
Yeah.
It's a team, not a single
Just
guy.
the one guy.
Just the one guy.
Mr. Digital.
Each planet in the solar system has enough novel, mind-boggling ideas to warrant an entire game about
Just
it.
like an indie game that is the Brittle Hollow. Brittle Hollow, White Dwarf Station. That could be its own indie game.
Yep.
And it would win a
BAFTA.
BAFTA.
And plus, the themes of the conclusion, they didn't hammer home for me like something like Nier Automata did, but I could totally see how the themes of Outer Wilds would resonate with people pretty broadly.
Yes.
Poignant, somber game. Dare I say, profound.
Gosh, and if only the DLC were reworked.
Skill issue.
And that was our top 100 list.
The official Mobius Tube's top 100 list.
Complain about your favorite game not cracking its deserved slot.
I have to say, I like the list more than I thought I would.
Supergiant, snubbed. Souls games, snubbed.
Deceive Inc. fans go wild, though. Heath, I took a stab at guessing what your personal top 10 games are.
Sure.
Let me throw you the list. Tell me how I did. React to it.
1 exactly right. 2, yeah, okay. So Civilization 5, Outer Wilds, Inscription, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, Inside, Transistor, Return of the Obra Dinn. You got practically 6 of them exactly right.
Damn.
Pretty much.
Transistor was the biggest miss.
Transistor got snubbed.
Since it apparently wasn't in the top 100.
I just forgot about it.
Damn.
Yeah. Well done.
Can you list off your top 10 and I'll list off mine just for the listeners' awareness?
I gotta fix this.
List it off as it was counted for the statistics.
Civilization 5, The Outer Wilds, Batman Arkham City, Return of the Obra Dinn, Portal 2, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Mass Effect 2, The Last of Us.
How would you amend it?
Modern Warfare would end up in the top 20. Everything else does. Maybe Batman Arkham City goes down to fill number 8 where it left. And maybe no, I don't know.
Surely you just bump your number 11 up?
Number 11 was Mario Galaxy.
Oh, okay. But do you think that also doesn't track?
Mario Galaxy is fun. It's a blast. I wanna look at your bottom 50.
Do you want to react to them? Or is this just an off-air exercise?
No, it might be. It might make the cut.
All right. I'll just quickly run through my personal top 10 for the curious listeners.
I'll one word react to them.
Number 1, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Number 2, Mass Effect 2. Number 3, Nier Automata. Number 4, Persona 5. Number 5, Dishonored 2. Number 6, Hades. Number 7, Outer Wilds. Number 8, Total War Warhammer 2. Number 9, Into the Breach. And number 10, Mass Effect 3.
Okay. So we only share 3 games in our top 10s.
That's right. Outer Wilds, Into the Breach, Mass Effect 2.
I want to.
All right, you want the keys to the castle?
I just want to know the bottom 50.
Here's the list.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
My favorite Assassin's Creed.
What the hell? Even Hitman 2 is more fun than Assassin's Creed Origins.
Damn.
Uncharted 4 has got to be better than both of those. Okay, we both had Marvel Spider-Man. So Marvel Spider-Man belongs somewhere.
Oh, but you had Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, they're the same to me. Super Hot made on yours. Doki Doki Literature Club.
For sure.
Interesting. You have 2 Spider-Mans.
I do. It's 2 Spider-Men. The other one is Miles Morales.
Right. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Wait, did I read that twice?
No, you read Origins the first time. Then I threw Odyssey on there for good measure.
Oh, you're putrid. All right. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle at 83.
Right.
That seems high.
Even to me, it seems a little high.
Alan Wake seems low. I put BioShock in the same spot as you did.
Oh, but it didn't make it?
85.
Oh, okay, yeah. Shy. Just shy.
Portal 2 is so low.
It was so
91. Last of Us was so low at 92.
Hey, that's just how much I personally enjoyed them compared to the rest.
Surely. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance was so low.
It's not the best Platinum.
Why? Because it's got like an elevator. It's too long.
Oh, navigating the menus was quite cumbersome.
Yeah.
The slashing was great, but the dodging left something to be desired.
Wargroove at 94. That's high.
It's a little high.
You need to put Splinter Cell Conviction in its place.
I'm going to react to Heath's missed games on his list.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, here's a question.
I need your phone.
I guess I'll find out.
I got to defend my thing.
Tears of the Kingdom replaced Breath of the Wild's inclusion?
Yeah, it did.
Interesting.
Because everything I had to say about Breath of the Wild, surely I would say about Tears.
I see. Because I put Breath of the Wild on my list. You should comment on how low that is. That's maybe my hottest take.
This is 72.
Yeah, people would probably be upset about
Right,
that.
you are crazy to think that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is better.
I think I put Origins ahead, maybe not Odyssey.
No, you... Yep, I'm putting words in your mouth.
They have a similar title, to be fair. So far, it's games I've seen. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3, since I didn't help it, didn't crack our list. I'm kind of glad because both of us would have just been like, hey, here's a game we haven't played.
But surely we would find things to like about it.
We'd find plenty to like about it. That was Heath's number 60, it looks like. 63, Cyberpunk 2077. I thought you'd personally rate Fallout 4 a lot higher than number 64.
It's really shallow.
Okay, the dialogue options.
Yeah.
Oh, Fortnite is on here at number 70. Funny.
Even that's a little high.
Well, how did you decide which Jackbox Party Pack game to include?
That one's got Quiplash, Faking It, and Murder Trivia.
You chose Party Pack 3.
Yeah.
All right, the inclusion at number 84 of Fall Guys seems a little bit questionable.
It's only at 84. I think in a vacuum, that game is just pure fun.
It reads to me as a total fad. It came and went.
No, even the skill ceiling is super high.
Samantha gave me one spoiler. I like seeing number 87.
Pajama
Sam. No need to hide when it's dark outside.
Hell yeah.
A game I also hold in high esteem.
Sir?
If I had collaborated, we could have pumped it up.
We could have pumped those votes.
This is just to throw me a bone. At number 95, you put The Forgotten City on.
I feel like
Which was
I
also
would enjoy it.
It was also on my list.
I didn't
But too low, I guess.
glazed past it.
I'm surprised it didn't creep on.
I didn't even see it. Still trying.
Oh, people will say we snubbed Minecraft.
I put it on mine.
It's on yours at number 93.
I feel like it's just as enjoyable as the ones next to it.
There's a case to be made. I snubbed Minecraft. I
see
see
Portal 2. That's in the 90s.
I see at number 100 you put Sonic Mania. Hopefully that's your only Sonic game?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Is number 86 Shadows of Doubt for its potential?
It's for its graphical design. Even that maybe it was a little high.
Fun list, Heath. A fun list.
You know what? I think I need to just look at the aggregate on paper,
Yeah,
and just really think about it.
stew on it.
Yeah.
I think our list could have came out much worse. You and I both reined in each other's bad impulses.
Yeah.
You've bolstered things I was snubbing, like Portal 2 and The Last of Us.
I kept all the Assassin's Creeds on our list are good. All of
and I corrected your omissions of Persona and Supergiant.
Yeah.
Together, we complement each other. That's why we have done this podcast for 100 episodes.
And we'll do them for 100 more before I have played all the games, and then we'll be done.
Then we'll be done. Well, what do you say we close out this podcast?
Folks, if you are just off your seat irate at our placements, you need only write in your top 100 list to mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com. We'll glaze over them, but we'll probably read every single one of Thomas's.
Yeah, Thomas has carte blanche with us. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, we take pride in reading every email on the show. Listener interaction, whenever it pops up, is always a treat. For anyone who's been sticking with us years in the making, shout out to you. It's been quite the journey we've been on, and we've been thrilled to have you along for the ride.
I'm sorry, I haven't given you more. Surely there's like a buttload of content that I probably could have delivered if I had the time.
Right, that's always the limiting factor. Heath, it's been an absolute pleasure.
100 years, 100 more episodes. Mobius Tubes forever, Morty.
I'll catch you on the next show.
Bye-bye.